and then come back.
Hey everybody, GameHounds Podcast. We are here on Sunday, June 28th, 2020. I've got Nick. We have no Andrew today.
Which is ironic because this would be the first episode of the new intro.
Oh, that's right. The first episode of his new intro on the Spreaker podcast. If you listen to the Spreaker podcast, I did put it. Yeah, I did put it in. So we have the new intro with Andrew's name, and yes, Holy Goalie did do the intro for that one, and it's awesome. Did you listen to it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it. My last name. It's so very hard to remember. It's just so many syllables.
So nobody's in the chat room yet. Nick has to jump out in like 10 minutes for
not like I'll come back.
Right. No, you just have to go out and go grab your laundry. So we haven't started the actual audio podcast yet because no point in it doing that if we're just going to turn around and come back and have to have you go away for 10 minutes to go get your laundry. I'm really surprised we don't have anybody in the chat room, but Buddy's about to go out to his walk. This is his walk thing.
This is walk time.
Buddy, you want to go for a walk? This is Buddy's walk thing. This is the most energy Buddy has at any particular day.
Yes.
This is the most animated he is. Go easy on him because he screamed for no reason earlier today. Yeah, I think his hip's bothering him. So, nobody's in the chat room. What the hell?
Huh.
We're up,
Come on,
right?
people. I think.
That's kind of weird. So, yeah, this is going to be the sexual assault episode of GameHounds.
Yeah.
Because holy shit.
There was a lot of it.
I mean, I'm a woman. I've been sort of around this industry for the last 14 years. Yes, I know this happens. But to have all of this reckoning happening this week, like bam, 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 going down Kotaku, it was like sexual assault, sexual assault, sexual assault, sexual assault, sexual impropriety, sexual assault, and some of them were bad.
Yeah, a lot of like, hey, I'm gonna get you drunk and then go home with you, and it's like
assaulting women in the backs of vehicles with like a whole bunch of other people inside with shoving their hands down their pants and doing it like repeatedly for 14 years. Somebody worked at the company. Just guys, I just, hey, see Wraith is here finally. I just can't believe the degree to what it is
I wonder if
in what world does any guy think that's okay?
I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of this is like that original wave of Me Too things was kind of more focused on the movie industry and related businesses to that,
right.
Not so much games. So like this is sort of the first wave of this stuff hitting the games and related industry. Then couple that with the fact that in recent years you have streamers, because a lot of this was focused on streamers, like Twitch streamers.
We'll talk about the details of what happened on Twitch. Yeah, holy shit.
They made up the bulk of all these accusations. And I think a lot of that is like, you give a guy a little bit of power and he's like, oh, I'm the shit. I can do whatever.
That's right.
You give an average person a little bit of celebrity.
I can do whatever I want.
Give an average person a little bit of celebrity and they take it and go too far with it.
It just...
But okay, we can talk about that. I gotta get that one.
Okay, yeah, you gotta go do laundry. But yeah, Corey Wallace, our guild master is here. Yeah, smart ass. I don't know. Nick is going to go get his laundry because he didn't schedule his day properly and scheduled so that the laundry would only be done 10 minutes before the show. And of course, the dryers at his apartment complex don't actually keep good time because no dryer keeps good time. AC Wraith says Kotaku likes to post about sexual assault. They don't always like to ask for permission from the survivors. True, but a lot of stuff that they have posted as I was going through the Kotaku thing are not when they're reporting on the events. They are usually pulling from Twitch. Not Twitch. They're pulling from Twitter. So these accounts are publicly accessible, regardless of whether somebody has been asked permission to write about it. Once you kind of put it in social media, it's in the public domain. In fact, I was actually impressed about Kotaku's coverage that in one case that had to do with Dark Horse, they actually did not go into the salacious details. They and it was a very long Twitter post, multiple posts, a whole bunch of them about one guy and what he did over 14 years and very graphic detail. And they did not post those details. They actually linked to the Twitter thread, but they didn't post the details, which I think was the responsible way to go through it because they were certainly not not family friendly, to say the least. Miles Thompson is in the chat room, says, "Happy Sunday, everybody. You going to speculate about Dr. Disrespect this week?" Oh, yes. Dr. Disrespect. The only downside about this, and we will cover it in the news, is that his offenses are being so drowned out with this tidal wave of firings and suspensions and bannings and reports and calling out and Twitter threads and the whole nine yards of so many, I couldn't actually get them all. I had to, it would have been the sexual assault podcast is what it would be, which is, I think, a good thing. All needs to be said. Oh, somebody's calling Nick's phone. Can you hear it? Or maybe that's his timer going off. But anyway, I'm gonna ask this question when Nick gets back, but no, because I'm just doing the freaking show. I should really just do the goddamn show. So let's not talk about that until we actually get to the topic and outline all the different stories that are going on. How are you? How's things? How's your shut-in order? California is not the worst, but we're not the best. We are now, we are one of many states that is seeing a big spike. My particular county is seeing a spike, but not there is a county in California that is, pardon my French, a fucking shit show. It is 800 miles away from me because that's how long California is. It's way down at the border in Imperial County, which is all the way down at the border of California. And we are halfway up California. And California is a very long state. We're most of the western side of this continent. And Imperial County is fucked right now. They are a wash, like soaking in it with COVID. Contra Costa County we're seeing a slight uptick. They're actually thinking about backing off on, we were supposed to open up hair salons supposed to open up nail salons and personal stuff and in-room dining on the 1st. And we're going to find out on Monday if they're actually going to do it, because we are seeing an uptick in the number of positives, not just the raw number of cases, which we are seeing a huge uptick. My county was getting like 20 or 30 cases. Like a bad day was 30 15 days ago. And now we're getting anywhere between 50 and 90 a day in my county.
Yeah, they shouldn't open.
They're not going to open. I don't think so. But that's only just cases. Remember, that's a function of raw case numbers is a function of a lot of things, including testing. But
Yeah.
it's when you get down into the other numbers and it gives you a better profile of what's going on, we are seeing actually a higher percentage of positivity, meaning that in a batch of tests, what percent of those tests were positive? And we were in the 2% or 3% a month ago, or 15 days ago. We're now at 5%. So it's almost doubled. It actually has doubled. It was like 2.5% earlier on the first of the month. So our amount, and that kind of gives you an idea of community spread, how much COVID is out in our community, and it has doubled. Granted, it's still not bad. Imperial County has a 26% positivity rate, which means in theory, you could expect to more than 1 out of 4 people. Actually, I take it 23%, but 1 out of 4 people in general have COVID in that county. Now, it's 5 people out of 100 possibly have COVID at this point, but it gives you an idea of community spread, and that's the big one. And it is going up, and they don't want it to go up anymore, because we don't want our hospitals overwhelmed. Imperial County is completely overrun. They've had to send out 500 people from their hospitals to get them out of the county into satellite areas because they have no place. Well, I should say they had to take 500 people not with COVID that were just in the hospital because they need to make room for the COVID down in their hospitals. Yeah, they're a shit show. Don't go to Imperial County. Just don't go south of Fresno, dude, because the wave is coming. The wave is coming, and it's going to head north. Because anybody who's in Imperial County who thinks that they might not have COVID or doesn't want to get COVID, they're going to go north. They're going to go north. And they're going to bring the COVID with them because they don't think they have COVID, but they do.
And sorry to Corey. He said that he had a death in the family.
Oh,
I think
no.
I don't know if it's from COVID, but still, that's awful.
Oh, Corey, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Now I feel bad about ghosting you on ESO. Well, I'm glad you're here. And if you need anything from us, just let us know. So we might as well start the show. I have to set this up. We are at GameHounds 551, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So are you getting a lot of fireworks this year down there? Because the fireworks have been off the hook up here.
Oh yeah, every day. Not a whole lot, but every day, whether in the day or in the evening, just a couple like poof 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 poof.
Oh,
here and
yeah,
there.
no, we're getting full-on mortars. We've got mortars going all night. Like, it shakes the house.
Wow, yeah, it's not that bad. I can hear them, and it's like, oh, I've been hearing this for a while, but it's not like constant, and it's not like they're super loud, so they must be some distance away.
They've had so many complaints about fireworks in our area, these 3 towns that are right next to each other right here. They had a round table with police and fire from the 3 towns to talk about the fireworks problem. And it started at 4:00 in the afternoon. 4:00 in the afternoon. It is bright, sunny, no time for fireworks. As soon as that fireworks roundtable went off, all of the bombs in the neighborhood all went off all around. I mean, like, it was boom, 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 boom. And it was like, oh, you guys know that the round table's happening. This is a big middle finger to the police to say, hey, fuck you. You can't catch us. Because there's no reason to fire off fireworks at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No, they did it specifically as soon as the live stream started to happen. They fired off like rocket mortars all over town, all over all three of the towns. So, yeah, it's bad. Got Lala Dada in the chat. Yeah, Miles Thompson says mortars have been going off too. I mean, yeah, we always get fireworks, but this year, what the fuck? Somebody just shipped over like live ammunition to everywhere. It
I've
all
seen
happened at once. It's not like it phased out or started on one coast and moved its way. It's like it all started at once.
I've seen people speculate that it's a lot of fireworks meant for 4th of July celebrations that aren't going to happen anymore. So people have just got a stock of fireworks somewhere, and it's like, well,
Maybe. I mean,
yeah.
you have to have a license. You can't just light those things off on the street. The ones that the professional ones, they are highly regulated, and they are super hard to set off. You can't just light them on fire. You've got to have like an electrical system that actually sets them off. But they have been big. So let me get this GameHounds logo large. All right, we got. Oh, I don't know why you didn't load. GH. Putting up the logo on the thing. There we go. All right. Are you ready for... Let's start the show. Oh, you know what? Shoot, I forgot to check levels. Check. Okay, I got waveforms. You?
Yeah.
All right, you
test. Am I
got
good?
waveforms. Yep, we can do it.
Okay.
All right, now I got to reload the logo because fucking it doesn't hold on to the logo. Yeah, if you back out and back in, it keeps all the text, but it doesn't keep the logo, so you got to reload it. All right. No Dorcas tonight. What does that mean?
Chaos?
Oh, that's right. King Dorcas. Yes. No,
Yeah.
Chaos is not on today. He is moving. He had an apartment that he was waiting for. He was staying with friends until an apartment that he had put a deposit down was available, and it became available a month before it was supposed to come available. And he just got word. He got it on like Thursday, like, hey, they've moved out. Do you want to move in on the 1st? So he's all of a sudden like, oh, I thought it was going to be the 1st of August. Turns out it's going to be the 1st of July. Fuck. So he's packing and moving. Yeah, it's kind of crazy for him right now. So, all right, let's do this show. You ready? Nick, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Games, modern culture, and technology. And these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
All right, mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 551. We are recording this on Sunday, June 28th, 2020. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola. We do not have an Andrew Smith today. It figures the first day that we have the new intro for the show, he's not actually on it. I had Goalie do that new intro, and he turned it around in like less than a day. Bless his heart. So welcome to the show. Glad to be here. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm actually doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you're full of energy today.
Sorry, I'm looking at other things. Okay. I'm doing great. I got a cat up here.
Yeah, you got your
He's
if you're watching us on
no,
YouTube, by the
he's
way, if you want
coming
listening to us
down.
live on the Spreaker, the audio feed, if you want to join us live, you can go over to YouTube, go to GameHounds, GameHounds Vids. It is on YouTube, VIDS as in videos. And don't forget, if you're watching us on the live feed right now on either Facebook or YouTube, the Facebook. You can also watch us there at The GameHounds on Facebook. But if you are watching us on YouTube, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, so that way you get notifications when we go live. So you know we're here because we love to
Mhm.
have you here. Also, don't forget we do have a Patreon. Thank you, AC Wraith. Patreon.com/GameHounds. Yay! Glad to have you, all of our patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the show and making sure that we can have this video feed because you sponsor our video feed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Nick, what you been playing?
I've done quite a few things.
Yeah.
First, I did a couple things that may have been inadvisable. I downloaded Fortnite, and I went to the movies.
You went to the movies are open?
I went to the movies in Fortnite.
Oh,
So on
okay.
Friday, they had a big movie night where they were going to show, depending on where you are in the world, a Christopher Nolan movie. And for us,
Right. I saw
it
that.
was Inception.
Mhm.
And so I hopped on there just to see what it was like. And I came in towards the end. Um, and I now realize how Fortnite does these big events, that they don't actually take place on the Battle Royale map. They take place on a completely separate Party Royale map that's meant for things like practice modes,
Oh,
sort of
okay.
doing races with friends, and just sort of a general hangout playground area. So
Right.
there's no guns in this area, so that's why.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense why people aren't all being murdered while they
Yes.
watch a concert.
Um, First of all, it was very disappointing because for a movie theater, it had a tiny ass screen. It may have been big in like the size comparison of Fortnite things, but going to that movie in Fortnite made me realize how much I miss going to actual movies because of just how unlike the movies it turned out to be, just how completely different. Like it's really the complete opposite of what it's like going to a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Because A, the camera is still, you can't change the camera. So your character is still in the middle of the screen, like about right here on my visual.
Okay.
If you got it, you know, they're at the center of the screen, which means at most, if you try to angle the camera to get the movie, you'll only see it in the top half. So at most, it's like watching a YouTube video, not full screen,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna watch the entire 2.5 movie, not full screen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little annoying. And second off, there's just a lot of other stuff going around. Like there's people around there, they're jumping around. It's sort of goofy. Um, but it reminds me that like the draw of going to a movie is that the screen is so big that it sort of wraps around your peripheral vision, and you just it's easier to lose yourself in it because it's literally the only thing you can see. And that's completely not the case with the Fortnite movie theater. Like, look at the size of that thing.
Right.
He's showing the
It's
video.
it's like
It's
being at a drive-in, but without the immersion. You're
Yeah,
immersed in the game, so it doesn't allow you to be
it's
immersed
like
in the movie.
the thing is, in theory, a drive-in theater, a drive-in screen is really big, but because you're sitting so much farther back than you are in a movie theater, it looks tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like in
If you
this
could put
video,
it into first person, it might work, but being in third person, it does not work.
yeah, exactly. Um, So if anything, I downloaded it. I downloaded the game and jumped in because I wanted to see what that experience was like, and it just reminded me, man, I really like movie theaters, and also, man, Inception is a really good movie. I just want to watch Inception again, and I just want to go to movie theaters again, not in Fortnite because it sucks in Fortnite.
Right.
And then I did play a game of Fortnite, and I was like, yeah, this is fine. Like I have it's not a bad game certainly. I could see myself getting into it if I had to, but it's like, yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, if I was a cognitive researcher, I would do a study on how many degrees of. I mean, what is immersion in the brain? Like when you watch a television show, or even a movie, you are immersed into that. It's like all of your peripheral vision goes away and you are in the movie. The camera is your eye.
Yeah.
But in this case, because you're immersed in the game, it prevents you from being immersed into the movie. And is it a matter of degree of screen? Is it a matter of
Well, it's also
your
like
brain can only do one immersion? It can't double immerse?
I think it's also lighting, right? Like in the theater, the lights go down. When I want to get into a movie theater when I want
Oh,
to get into a movie at home, I turn off the lights. And in this obviously you can't do that.
right.
Yeah, it is disappointing, but it's interesting. Like I like that Fortnite does dumb stuff like this, and it was fine for like a goof. But like I think even has a friend get together movie night, it kind of fails because comparing this to how Netflix used to work on the 360, where you could do that movie mode, um,
Mm-hmm. Right.
where it would basically kind of pull the camera back a little bit and it would look like you were in a theater and you could see all your friends' avatars in the little theater rows and you
Right.
could have a group chat while you talked and watched the movie.
Or passed out or roofied
Ye-
yourself with
Yes,
Ambien and margaritas and nachos.
it sounds as if you speak of experience.
You were there when I
I
did
know,
that to myself.
I know. When we were watching a movie, you recommended too, which was particularly awful. Um,
That's
but
the
like
only
that,
way to watch an Uwe Boll movie. It really
it
is.
wasn't Uwe Boll. I think it was that
Yeah.
Japanese one.
No, it was Uwe Boll. It was
It
what was
wasn't
it?
the
Postal.
it wasn't the Japanese one with the lady had the monster legs.
No, it was Uwe Boll. That was when we watched Postal because I fell asleep
Okay.
before Vern Troyer got raped to death by 1,000 monkeys.
Yes.
And you had to tell me about it, and I had to go back and watch it because I couldn't believe that that's what actually happened.
Yeah. But like that's a good way to experience a movie because you're all watching the movie and even though you can all do different things, like at least your attention is kind of focused, but you can still talk with each other. Again with this, like it seems weird if I'm going to hang out with friends and watch a movie, it feels weird to then have to control a digital avatar in watching that movie. Like, why not just play the movie and let me talk over it with friends, like Mystery Science Theater 3000
Right.
style? Like, that seems a better way to have a movie night with friends than this Second Life-esque style.
Can you not communicate over this? Like, is there no
No, you
chat?
can. I think you can. It just, to me, it feels like this. It's this additional layer.
People are throwing rocks at the screen,
Yeah.
trying to hit Jeff Keighley.
Which, like, that's why I'm not against doing something like this because you can do goofy things like that and it seems fine. It's just, it's not a good way to necessarily hang out with friends and it's not a good way to watch the movie. It's a
Right.
good way to hang out with friends and fuck with other people who are trying to watch the movie.
People are throwing rocks at the screen. So, yeah. Fortnite movie night.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's not a thing.
Nah. I imagine the concert's probably more interesting because the videos we saw had the giant guy walking around and the sky changed color. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it takes much more advantage of being in a 3D space around you that you could do so much with. And like maybe if the movie took up the entire skybox, that would be a cool way to get a big screen in
Right.
this virtual world, but instead it's just a little tiny thing. Um, then I spent an hour or so finishing Final Fantasy 15,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually got a certificate of completion at the end of it.
Really?
The only game I've ever played that gives you a official certificate of completion with a timestamp of when you earned it and a timestamp of how long it took you.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
is it's on the screen
Yeah,
or
I took a screenshot of it and posted it in the GameHounds community on PlayStation.
Facebook on PlayStation? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's just weird things that Final Fantasy does. Um, but then the more important game that I played
Mm-hmm.
was The Last of Us 2.
Ah. So tell me.
I'm really enjoying it. I mean, it's a well done game so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I think before it came out, reading reviews, one of the consistent things about it that I read is that the embargo on the reviews was very strict. Like you, at least in terms of story, you were very, very limited in what you could talk about. Um, and I think that prevented people from talking about some of the more interesting things that the narrative does,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the beginning. Um, but since the game is out and I'm never under embargo in the first place, I don't have those restrictions. So fuck you, Naughty Dog.
Mm-hmm.
One of the interesting things about this game, um, they've gone on record saying it's a revenge story. And yes, it's a revenge story. Like early on in the game, some shit happens. Ellie grabs a gun and a horse and goes all John Wick on the world and being like, I'm going to go fuck these people up. What's interesting about it is it's a revenge story where it seems that you play, in part, the people that you are taking revenge on. So early in the game, you jumped control to a different set of characters and played as them for a while. And then you jump back to Ellie. And that's when like the thrust of the story goes on. But from what I understand, um, it seems like it will jump back and forth from character to character. Or at least if it, looking at this, it seems like it will because this is one of the new characters. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an interesting idea to have a revenge story that,
God, it looks gorgeous.
oh, I'll get into that.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just interesting to have a revenge story that jumps between, you know, the person doing the revenge and then the person who's the subject of that revenge.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the game is very interested in telling both sides of that story, particularly in how it's set up. Um, this other group, it feels like the way that they wrong Ellie is the culmination of their own revenge story. And so
Mm.
clearly, the game is setting up this cycle of violence where, one revenge story dovetails into another revenge story, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And I think that's a really interesting way to tell what could very easily be a cliched story, right? Like the whole revenge trope is so almost played out at this point that like John Wick is like, oh no, should we have him get revenge on his wife? No, they kill a puppy, and that makes him kill anyone. Like you can play with that trope and sort of throw around with it because it's so done. Um, and so I like that this game seems to be doing something more than just, you know, hey, let's wrong a character and then have a get revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seems to be going for something a little bit more nuanced and complicated than that, which I think is cool and kind of I think justifies itself as a sequel. Because so far, um, one of the things about that first game is that it feels very self-contained. Like you get to the end and you're like, wow, that was just a good game. There's really no need for a sequel. What I think is neat about this game is that I don't think it could very easily be a continuation of that first one, but at least so far in the several hours I've played, it doesn't necessarily feel like a continuation of that first game, as it does a new story set in the same world with the same characters. Which I think is okay because that first story, like I said, was very self contained. But at the same time, their lives continue and more things will happen to them. And, like, the story of your life is really a collection of multiple stories that begin and end over and over again. And this particular story being told in this universe and with these characters, I think makes a lot of sense. Like, this sort of revenge story makes sense in this brutal universe, and it makes sense with these characters who have done very brutal things. And so the idea that this is not necessarily a continuation of that story, but just a new story with them fits with the world, fits with the characters, and I think just narratively justifies itself in a way that I think a lot of people were worried about. Um, so in terms of the graphics, though, the very first thing you do in the game is you play as Joel, and you're on a horse, and you're out on patrol with your brother, and you're just riding through a forest, and they're talking on the horses and riding through the forest. And as I was playing that, I thought, ah, shit, games can still look really good. Like, I remember playing Uncharted 4, and there's a lot of Uncharted 4 that takes place in forests. Uncharted has always taken place in dense forests. And at a certain point, I'm like, I've seen dense forests so many times in games. Like, do I really need to keep seeing it? Like, show me some new environment. I don't need to keep seeing forests over and over again. I've seen pretty forests. You see one pretty tree, you've seen them all.
Right.
And then we get to The Last of Us 2, and I'm like, God, that's a good-looking tree.
That's a mighty fine looking
just-
tree right there.
I'm
Sound
just
like Ron
staring
Swanson.
at the tree and the grass, and I'm like, oh, fuck, this actually does look really good. Maybe we can do better trees. I
Yeah.
thought we had reached peak tree. No, we have not. Nope.
Yeah, holy shit, the graphics on this are amazing.
So it also, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It extends to more than just the graphics, but like the physics too.
Oh, really?
I killed not a clicker, a runner, which is like the first level of infected, which can run at you and you can fight.
Right.
I killed one of them in a bathroom, and I stabbed a knife into its neck and pulled it out, and it fell on the ground. And as it fell, its blood started pooling. It went out and started pooling, but it started like going into the ridges of the tile and spreading out in like a grid pattern because, following the shape of the tile. And so I'm sitting there staring at this blood pooling in this bathroom, just thinking, oh, that's some amazing fluid dynamics. And then thinking like, oh man, I'm just watching this blood pool. I'm just watching it like into a drain. And it's like, this is fucked up. And then, like, as I started paying more attention to that, if you kill a guy like on a flat surface, the way that she stabs him in the neck and pulls it out, there's always like a perfect circle of splatter around where you lay the body. Like, the game is keeping track of all the blood splatter that you do. At one point, a guy came running at me on a stairwell, and I smashed him in the face with a pipe, and a burst of blood went right on the wall behind him. And it was just like, that's impressive, but also like, oh shit. Like, it adds to that real brutality of the world that, these characters are made of stuff.
Right.
And so when you kill them, that stuff gets spread across the world in a way that it doesn't in other games.
Man, I hate to be the person to say, have we reached a stage where that kind of violence is too real? I mean, obviously these are zombies. These are infected. It's
Well, there's
not
also
real people.
You do it to people. You kill a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it depends. Like, it depends. I've heard some people say that the violence in this is too much for them to handle, and I've read other people that say, like, yes, it's violent, but it doesn't feel like anything more than another game. And
Right, but
like
there's always been
that's
this sense of due to graphics that it felt like a game. But when it starts to get like so real that you get blood spatters, that real. I mean, I'm just kind of asking this academically as
yeah,
opposed to me being actually concerned about it.
and I don't have an answer. It definitely adds to the atmosphere of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the way combat works in general, this is a stealth game. This is something I had to remind myself of because the last Naughty Dog game I played was Uncharted.
Right.
Um, there are times gunfights are like really, really terrifying because there are times if Ellie gets shot, she will fly back.
Mm-hmm.
So like I pop up to aim at someone and I have them in my sights and then I get shot and go ugh and fall onto the ground and a guy comes running up to the cover that I was hiding behind and looks down at me with a gun pointed at me and I'm on my back shooting wildly up at him trying to kill him before he kills me
Right.
and it captures this very it's not the precision military-esque gunfights that a lot of games go for. It captures a very panicky, very inaccurate, very wild gunfight where every bullet feels like it will kill you. Every shot that you hit kind of feels lucky in a way. And every time you get out of a fight alive, you're like, oh shit, I hope that never happens again.
Right.
But of course, it will happen again, over and over again.
Um,
So, yeah.
but how does it feel?
I
Does
think
it
it feels
feel like Last of Us or does it feel like a more advanced Last of Us? Like, is there a
like I
significant difference?
I don't know because it's been so long
So
since I
long,
played that
yeah.
first game. I mean, it plays fine. I think the way that you move around the world, um, like a lot of Naughty Dog games, it's very physics based and momentum based, and so you're not having direct control like you do Mario. Um, excuse me, but just the animations of your character make up for that. Like it's just done really well. Um, yeah. I'm trying to think of what to say. Like I think the way it does stealth is interesting because the way, at least that they've mixed it up here, is you have a mix of infected, which can see you, and clickers, which can hear you.
Right. That and
And
those were in the first Last of Us as well.
yes. And so, like I said, it's been a while since I played it, so I don't know how much of this is like repeating things from that first game. But I think the way it handles that stealth is kind of interesting because you'll have these clickers that are blind, but can kill you in one hit, surrounded by a bunch of these runners that just can come at you where they can see you. And so when you go through an area in stealth, a lot of it is sort of picking out your targets of like, okay, the clicker is over in that corner and he walks around in this circle. I don't want to go near him because I have to go up to him slowly so he doesn't hear me, but that leaves me exposed for the guys that can see me. So first I'm going to go around the perimeter and kill the zombies that can see me, and then I'll be able to come up against the clicker from any direction because
Right.
and so it's an interesting
You have to
plan like
plan
that.
your attacks.
Yes, there's a lot of planning. And the way that it works in gunfights too is interesting because once you get into a fight with people, if you switch cover a couple times and then you just stay still, they'll lose track of you. And so they'll actually start hunting for you. And that allows you to use stealth against them. And so it's nice that every time you get into a gunfight, if you hide properly, you can kind of reduce that heat level and go back into stealth. And so a lot of the times when you're dealing with people is, at least in my experience, is I try to sneak around with stealth. I get seen. I get into a fight. I kill a guy, and then I hide. Wait for things to kind of die down. Wait for them to start hunting me, and then hunt them and take them out one by one. And part of this is also like I think the added brutality of the game is since I'm playing on hard, you know, the enemies are stronger.
Wow,
I'm
you're playing
weaker.
it on hard. That's ballsy.
Oh yeah, well, it fits with the universe, you know.
Yeah.
Um
You're all
and
in on this.
yeah. I played the first one on hard too. And the checkpoints are forgiving enough that the difficulty doesn't really add any frustration to it, because if I die, I just go literally right back to the beginning of that encounter. And there have been times in a stealth area where I've circled the perimeter, killed an infected, and then I accidentally alert the other guys, and the clicker comes running at me and kills me. The checkpoint that it loads is after I killed that first infected. So it's not even like I have to begin the entire encounter over again. I begin the encounter again from the last time I was safe. And so that frees me up to just really experiment and go, I'm going to try to go this way. I'm going to try to go this way. Because every time the game reloads a checkpoint, I am not losing almost any progress at all. So the difficulty is really more in how you scavenge things. You just find less resources, and so that means you kind of have less resources to deal with at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
But because I just like to scavenge and search around all the corners, I still haven't run into too many situations where I feel like I'm lacking supplies. It feels like it hits that rarity level just right, where I have just enough supplies to feel like I'm getting enough things to survive, but not enough that I ever feel truly safe. So yeah, in this area is something in the very beginning, and I think it's the one thing I've noticed about this game compared to the first one is the environments are a lot more wide open. In this area, like, you have a horse and you're running around downtown Seattle, or at least not all of downtown Seattle. It's really just like a 3-block, like.
Is it where they hold PAX?
No, it's not. But they give you a map.
Oh.
They give you a map, and I can pick out where the convention center is on that map. And I got excited because I was like, "Oh shit, are we gonna get to go around there?" And no, you don't.
Oh.
So yeah, the environments are way wider open. This one, you have a horse because you're riding around like a huge 3-block radius. Even later on, when you without the horse, like, I'm exploring Seattle, and it's like, oh, I think I want to go in this direction, but this direction is like several houses wide. And so it's like, well, I'm going to hit this house, explore here, then go forward a little bit, explore here. And what's interesting is there's always only one direction you can go to progress the story. So a lot of times it's finding, where is that one direction, and then kind of going back to explore all the other explorable areas that you can. And so wait, you should talk to me 16 story hours later. We'll see if that patience holds up.
Patience,
Yeah.
not patience.
I know. I'm just like, I'm not sure what the patience is, but yeah, I'm interested. I like the mood of it. It's got a good, dark, heavy mood. If anything, it just really shows that the writing team is so good, because even in the moments where there is no action, where it's just characters talking with each other, the dialogue is very compelling. Like, it's just very well written. Like, the characters and the way they talk to each other is just so well done. I want to watch them, and I imagine I would enjoy watching them even if they weren't in this super brutal survivalist horror story. What's interesting is, do you remember that scene? Oh, my patience for hard mode. Interesting. Okay. Hey, I'm looking for a game to fuck me up at this moment. Like, I played a lot of JRPGs, a lot of like.
You haven't had some Dark Souls in a while, so you need something to fuck you up.
Exactly. I've done the power fantasies, right? I've had my big ass sword. I would also stop the video at this point.
I was just about to do that anyway.
Yeah. I've had like my power fantasies and RPGs. I want something that makes me feel scared. And this does a good job of that. Like I said, the moments when I'm aiming behind cover and I pop up and I'm like, I've got you in my sights, and then just bam, something hits me from the side and I literally fall down. There's a genuine moment of panic where I'm like, oh fuck, where did that come from? Shit, I need to get behind cover, but fuck, I'm flanked. Oh fuck, what do I do? And it's, yeah, I like that moment of frantic, panic,
Okay.
fear for
Good
your
for
life.
you.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that because that's how I feel most days. So I don't need that
Well, see,
in
here's,
my life.
I think here's the thing. This is the one important thing that I think people tend to forget about The Last of Us.
Hmm.
It is a horror game. Like for as much action as there is in it, like the mood that they go for, the violence, the story, like a lot of it is meant to be horrific in a way that it is a horror game. So like if you are not into it, it basically feels like a big budget survival horror game. That's what it is. This is the next evolution of like old Resident Evil and Silent Hill and like Siren and all those survival horror games. Like that's kind of what this is, just with a bit more gunplay in it. But
Right.
even then, that
And
gunplay, the
gorgeous
way it's presented,
graphics.
yes. But even then, the gunplay is meant to be horrific and scary, and the graphics are all in service to things that are horrific and scary.
Right.
So if you're not in the mood to play a horror game, then The Last of
This
Us
is
is not
not your
for you.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I enjoy horror. I enjoy I'm looking I'm hoping that this will get under my skin the way Hereditary did when I first saw that in theaters. I want something that will stick with me.
All right.
From what I heard, it does do that.
But
And
don't abandon me in ESO because I'm literally treading water in a lot of places waiting for you to show up.
so last night you asked me to play ESO, and I think last night was unique because that last week we talked about how Warner Brothers is like fucking up its whole HBO Go thing.
Mm-hmm.
I found out a couple days ago they announced that they're getting rid of the HBO Go app, which is the app that people with a cable subscription can use to watch HBO digitally,
Right.
which is the app I use to watch it because my dad has a cable subscription.
Oh, okay.
So I basically was like, "Oh shit, I'll lose access to
So
HBO."
they're getting rid of HBO Go?
Yes, you'll still have HBO Now and HBO Max.
But you can't watch HBO Now or HBO Max with
Roku.
you can't watch HBO shows on your television if you stream. Like that's what we do. We have a cable subscription. We don't fucking use cable because I fucking hate cable. I would rather just watch it on HBO Go because, it's just
Well, if
easier. It's
you
on demand.
then don't have a cable subscription and subscribe to HBO Max. That's what it wants you to do. Except in my case, they don't actually have an HBO Max app for Roku, which is the TV I have.
Shit. So what this is this is moving me closer to getting rid of our cable.
Yeah.
Because I don't think
So-
Kevin and I don't think we have watched anything on our cable subscription for a year.
Oh wow.
But now we have watched things that are based off of our cable subscription.
Yeah, but you
like
do it.
AMC and everything else.
Yeah.
Because we have a subscription, we have a cable service, so we watch AMC using the AMC app on our television rather than actually watching cable on our television. Because I want to watch it on demand.
Yeah. I get that.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
Right?
I can't watch Westworld on demand now?
Well, no. They're getting rid of the app at the end of next month, July 31st.
Right, but say next seasons or whatever, whatever show.
No,
I can't watch it on demand based on my cable subscription?
I don't know.
I'd have to actually pay them more money to be able to watch something
will-
on demand?
The rollout of HBO Max has been fucked up on so many levels because of these very questions. No one knows, can I watch it?
Right. Because if I can't watch
It's
HBO
not
on
a simple
demand, I'm
question.
not going to watch HBO.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not a
unless it's
simple
like
question.
it's got to be like Game of Thrones fucking level. Like I want to watch it live. But generally speaking, on a Sunday night, I'm not watching television. I don't want to have to DVR it because my DVR is old and I
Yeah.
don't use it, and I don't,
So to go back, I found that out that I would lose access to HBO next month. So I'm like, well, I'm going to try to binge everything that I can before then, which turns out to be mainly Westworld and Barry. I have not,
the two best shows right now.
Yes.
I mean,
I
other
haven't-
than that and Silicon Valley.
I haven't started Barry. I'm not interested in Silicon Valley.
Silicon
But
Valley is so good.
I did watch all of season 3 of Westworld, and
Good.
damn, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
That was not a really good season.
It was not a good season.
Like the first 2, I think were really good, and I'm a defender of that show in general, but that season, I can kind of see what they were going for of like, hey, let's make humanity into its own kind of robots that go about the loops. And so Dolores's her revolution of humanity would like free us from all loops the way she freed the machines from their loops, but it just kind of shit the bed completely with that idea.
Yeah.
And even then, a lot of the action scenes were really poorly staged.
Yeah.
I lost count of how many times people with machine guns shot at each other without moving and missed.
Yeah.
It's like I was very disappointed in.
Yeah. But anyway, we were talking about Elder Scrolls.
Yes, so last night, like I spent the day going between The Last of Us and watching like 4 episodes of Westworld in a row.
Okay.
And so that's why I couldn't play, because I was like, I want to finish this show. I want to play through this game so I can talk about it. I want to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
I have done everything on, what was it? Malagbal, whatever.
Vardenfell?
Vardenfell. Yeah. I've done everything there, with the exception of the stuff at the town that we discovered the last time we were there.
Oh, really?
I have not. It's the only thing that's keeping me, but I have actually gotten the Pathfinder.
Okay.
I have gotten the Morrowind
you
Pathfinder.
Have? Oh, Jesus.
That's how much stuff I found.
Okay.
How much I've done.
Look, I'm enjoying that game. I do want to go back to that game.
And I have moved on to the Thieves Guild.
Look,
and you will love the Thieves Guild. You will love the Thieves Guild.
I needed to finish Final Fantasy. I wanted to get started on Last of Us. I had other shit to do. So now that some of that other stuff is taken care of, I can focus my attention.
So later today, after the show?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'll do that. I can do that.
So yeah, Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, I don't have to go into it. It's a game that's forever old, and I haven't gotten the. What's the chatter say?
Forget Your Life had a good.
He says the next John Wick will be weird since all the hand-to-hand combat will be 6 feet apart.
That's pretty good.
So yeah. Elder Scrolls Online, playing it, and I haven't played anything that deserves a whole lot of discussion because Elder Scrolls Online's been out forever, and they've got the new DLC, but I don't have the new DLC because I'm not entirely sure I want to buy the new DLC. But yeah, it's it's a good game. It's best I can say. I have got to start playing some new games. I really do. But there is nothing out there that's really speaking to me.
I don't think, speaking of Naughty Dog, did you ever play Uncharted 4?
I did not.
Because I think that was free, like, for a while there.
It was. I think I may have.
And even then, I know it's one of their greatest hits, so it's only like $20. I genuinely think that is the best Uncharted game. I think that's a high point
but
for the
that's
series.
another one. It's been out forever. It's like I can't really call myself a gaming podcaster if I haven't played a game that's been released in the last 12 months.
Look, not a lot has been released in the last 12 months.
True.
Realistically, this is the time to go back and play.
It's been at least 2 years since there has been a game that I've been really excited for.
How long have we spent talking about Final Fantasy 14?
Yeah.
And I've been talking about Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Like, this is the time to talk about old stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the last game I was truly excited about was God dang it, I'm having a brain cramp.
Oh yeah, Corey Wallace says play through more Death Stranding.
Oh, that's true. I did play but I played Death Stranding late. Yeah, I just don't feel like going back to Death Stranding. And here's another one that it's like, why would I if I'm going to play a game, I really want to play ESO for right now. And if I'm going to play a game to report on it here, I'm not going to play about Death Stranding because Death Stranding's now old news. They need to pick up something that's new news.
Like I said, I think it would be worth getting another GameHounder's opinion of Death Stranding. Because right now, all they know is my opinion. And my opinion, it's worth shit. So it'd be good to hear someone else's.
I talked a lot about it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I did talk a lot about it. It's not like I didn't give Death Stranding several episodes.
Mhm.
But I'm just not bringing anything to the table. But the last time I was excited about a game was the procedurally generated space exploration that pissed everybody off.
No Man's Sky?
No Man's Sky. That was the
was a
last time
long
I was
time ago.
truly excited about a game like I'm there day one.
Holy cow.
Yep. I am waiting for a Dragon Age. I am waiting for a Dragon Age. I want a Dragon Age. It's going to be a long wait. It's going to be several years. But there's no game that's like an RPG that makes me just want it because I want to know what's going to go on.
I'm trying to look through my collection.
I take it back. Maybe, you know what? Maybe Mass Effect Andromeda. That was the last game that I was very excited about. And that was, let's just say, a major letdown. Let's be charitable about that. See, even forget your life new. I need another Dragon Age. I do. I need another fantasy RPG.
No, I looking through my game drawer here, and I found a game that won't help you now, but it was the last game that you got excited about completely unexpectedly.
Okay.
Kingdom Come Deliverance.
I was going to say, Kingdom Come Deliverance filled that bill, but I was also coming to that game also very, very late. I was not anticipating it.
Like I said, it's fine to
I loved Kingdom Come Deliverance. I wish I'd known about Kingdom Come Deliverance when it came out, when it was a new game, because I would have been excited for it and understood what it was. I have coming to it late after, it's all said and done kind of makes it a little bit of a bummer for me that I didn't know. I wasn't there when the zeitgeist was happening.
Did you play Red Dead Redemption 2?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, why? And I've gone back to it fairly recently and found out it to be a cesspit of the worst parts of humanity.
Okay, fair.
The online.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it does not hold anything for me at all. The online, and the online should, but it doesn't.
In terms of ESO, you said you're like treading water waiting for me at Varvenfell.
Yeah.
Can't you like fast travel back to the main continent and do that story?
That's what I'm. Well, no, I'm not. I don't want to do that main story until you're there, so I can be with it for you. Because otherwise, it's me standing around watching you stand around, clicking through the X button all the way. I'd rather actually go through it with you. It's a much more fun experience overall. But I did go into the Thieves Guild because I have that DLC.
Okay.
And I did do the Thieves Guild. I'm starting it, and you would freak. As soon as I get into it, I'm like, why am I doing Thieves Guild?
That's cool.
I would love to do the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Both of them you would love. Because the Thieves Guild is all about go here, sneak in, and steal shit.
That's
get back out.
That's the best stuff.
Yeah. And it is way harder than you think. And there's a lot of, oh shit, and jumping into a basket. So you and I would be able to share a basket together.
Okay. Yeah, see, AC Wraith has it right. That's the opinion you should have.
AC Wraith says, screw hype. Going on release schedule just means that you're blabbing about the same crap every other podcast is talking about at the same time period. That's true. All right. And thank you for saying that. But there is that kind of great feeling that you have when you're waiting for a game that you really, really want and that you're anticipating. There's that excitement of weeks of counting down, and it's like you're there at midnight waiting for it to 3, 2, 1, launch.
I guess
I haven't had that in years.
I mean, you know what? I don't think I've ever done that for a game. Even
oh really?
Look, I was excited for The Last of Us 2. I wanted to buy it. I actually had to go to 2 different Targets in order to find a physical copy, and even then, I got the last one.
The Last of Us?
I got the Last of Us.
Okay.
But I bought that a couple days after it came out. I am trying to remember the last time I was waiting for a game to unlock at midnight to play it, and I don't really think I've ever done that. Like, I've always just been like, oh, I like this game, I'm looking forward to it. I download it and I'll play it the day after it comes out. 'Cause, hey, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just difference of expectations.
Yeah, there's been a number of games where I have been in the game watching the counter count down to the point of where I could start. And it's literally like 3, 2, 1, start.
Okay, if there's a game that I don't know
I
if
think I did that for an Assassin's Creed game too.
I don't know if you'll like this game, but I would like to know what you think of it because I think it's utterly fantastic. Is The Outer Wilds?
Oh yeah, no, I have to play that. I want to play that.
And play that.
Oh, speaking of your suggestions, I watched The Floor is Lava.
So why?
I
Why
will
do
read to you.
hate that so
Let
much?
me go to. Let me see if I can find the text that I sent you after watching The Floor is Lava. I think it was.
I don't understand why that show for you is any more stupid than all the other stupid shows that we talked about.
This is my text to Nick after watching like half an episode, if that. So I say tonight, so there's this new show on Netflix called The Floor is Lava. Kevin, yeah? Me, Nick says it's good. Kev, fuck no, Nick has shitty taste. Me, not always, let's try it. Kev, okay, but it's gonna be shitty. 15 minutes of The Floor is Lava later, ... Me, wow, this is incredibly shitty. Kev, yeah, told ya. Fuck Nick.
Okay, so first of all, no offense to Kevin, but someone who still watches The Walking Dead has no leg to stand on calling my taste shitty.
All right,
The
I'll
Walking
give you that.
Dead has not been good
I will
for
give you that.
a long time.
I know.
And I say this as someone who used to really like the show.
You know, here's the
gone
thing:
down
is that I have a lot of respect for him because he's watching The Walking Dead, even though he does know it's shitty, but he's continuing to watch it because he feels a loyalty to it.
No,
As my
dedication.
husband, as a
respect
man
that.
I married, I am very, very appreciative of the fact that he would, if he can stick with Walking Dead this long, he can be married to me for a really long time. Because our marriage definitely jumped the shark about 5 years ago, but he's sticking with it
From
because
the
it's.
shot when you started wearing each other's faces.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah,
but
no, it's the honeymoon is definitely over in
point-
this house.
I still don't get how that's how The Floor is Lava is any more shitty than Wipeout or MCX or like Ninja Warrior or any of those ones.
The thing is that yeah, all of those are shitty, Nick.
Yeah,
They're
but they're
all shitty shows.
But they're fun. They're fun shitty.
They're horribly scripted.
Okay, I'm not.
Yeah,
watching
like the things that
dialogue.
they're
I'm not
yelling
watching
to
it for
each
the
other
narration.
is not the stuff that people yell to each other when they're actually doing stuff.
Doesn't
They're
matter. I want to see someone make a 7-foot jump and completely smash their face.
yeah, that's what's pretty
That's
funny.
what I want to see. That's what's fun.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
Look,
It's
if
just
you wanna
it's
watch
horrible
people-
television.
If you want to watch people making absurd jumps and missing and then succeeding, and you're going, "Yeah, do it," watch The Floor is Lava.
See,
Okay,
that's the
like
thing.
I
Is
said-
it The Floor is Lava? Not The Floor is Lava. MCX
Mm-hmm.
took that concept of an incredibly cheesy staged scripted show and took it to the extreme, making fun of incredibly cheesy scripted episodes. And that's what made it good, was because these shows
Okay.
were stupid and they just made it so stupid.
Like
They
I
were
said,
poking fun of it. It was comedy. They turned it into serious, like, oh, I'm afraid. They turned it into comedy. And that's where it needs to be. That's the
I think-
only place that it could be.
I think Wipeout is the better comparison then, because Wipeout is just sort of, hey, watch these people go through a goofy obstacle course. And see, Corey Wallace is right. He says, I love how they react when someone falls in, like they really fell in lava. Everyone goes, no, you did it. And
no!
like Andrew said,
we'll do it for Julie. It's like, fuck, no.
No, that's great. I love that. Like Andrew said the other week, when someone falls in, the way the camera cuts around it, you never see them again. They just disappear from it.
Right.
It's great. I love goofy shit like that.
Yeah, well, I watched the first family that went through, and it was like, yeah, the daughter was like, I can't. It's like, all right, fuck it, I'm out. These are people that are not A, not even trying, B, totally scripted, C, the show takes itself seriously.
No, it doesn't.
It needs to literally no, it needs to go farther into comedy to turn it into comedy as opposed to American Ninja. It doesn't go far enough.
This is so not American Ninja. Like that show
Exactly.
takes itself seriously.
This
does
needs
not.
This needs to go deeper and go into the comedy where people are actually making fun of the people that are going through there instead of being with them. And it's like, oh my God, they've got to make that 7-foot jump. Can she do it? They've got to be like, she's never going to make that, dude. She's going to be.
That seems pointlessly cruel. Like,
Yes.
why have people come on the show and then make fun of them?
That's what MCX was.
Because I want to see them go through the obstacle course.
That's what MCX was. It was absolutely fucking absurd, and it made fun of the entire genre.
Yeah. Not
Anyway.
into that.
Shall we move on to news? Because, I mean, ESO, it's good. If you like MMOs, if you like Elder Scrolls, it feels like Elder Scrolls.
And I don't want to repeat what we've done before, but like,
Yeah.
if you don't like MMOs, you should play Elder Scrolls because it feels like it breaks that typical mold of MMO.
It is. It is a kind of a really nice halfway point between an Elder Scrolls game and a full MMO. Takes
but
just enough of it to make it multiplayer.
Bitters Plus.
Bitters, no,
Yeah.
no, Bitters, you're lost to me. So, the three brothers that are they're going to let the only brother live with them in an apartment because he was the only one to survive.
Yeah. It's like one of the funny things about that is seeing some of the, like, one guy was like, I can't do this. This is it. And it's like, what did you think would happen when you came on this show? And he's like, I can't go across monkey bars. No, I'll never do that. I'll never do that. And it's like,
I would really I would do that show with you and me and Goli.
I would so fucking love to do something like that. As a child who grew up in like the Chuck E. Cheese type mazes with the ball pits and the things, this is a grown-up version of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh fuck, it looks so
I was a poor kid before Chuck E. Cheese, and we just went to the beach and jumped from rocks to rocks playing The Floor is Lava. And absolutely we would fall we would do incredibly stupid, dangerous stuff that we probably should have gotten at least a few broken bones, if not skull fractures out of, but we totally would do it.
Corey says that I dissed the only good show on AMC? The Walking Dead is not the only good show on AMC.
No, Killing Eve is the best show on AMC.
Is that on AMC?
Yeah, isn't it? Or is that Sci-Fi?
On AMC. It's not
No,
Sci-Fi.
it's AMC. It's
Is
AMC.
it? Because, wait, but I can watch that on Hulu, and I can't watch other AMC shows on Hulu.
I'm pretty sure I watch it on the AMC app.
Maybe.
And that's where I watched Tales from Elsewhere, which I think is better.
Yeah.
Sorry. Tales from Elsewhere it's fantastic. If you have not watched it, go watch.
Mad Men is better than Walking Dead. Breaking Bad, better than Walking Dead. There's a one-season spy show called... Fuck, I can't remember. But I thought it was better than Walking Dead. It only lasted for one season.
Isn't Upload on that show?
No, that's on Amazon.
Amazon. Okay. Yeah. By the way, go watch Upload. Oh, and another thing that I'm watching more Korean television. Did I tell you about the Mystic Pop-Up bar yesterday or last week? Mystic Pop-Up Bar is a Korean drama that is it's a bar that is full of 500-year-old spirits that one of them needs to settle 100,000 grudges in her 500 years, or else she will be taken down to hell. and it is a really, really good show. It is subtitled Watch Mystic Pop-Up Bar. And I'm also now, somebody else, because that was a fan of Mystic Pop-Up Bar, suggested to me something called, that you actually, I take it back, you probably would like this show more, called Memories of the Alhambra. And it is Korean. It is set in Spain,
Sounds
in Grenada, Spain.
familiar.
Granada, Spain. And it is about it focuses, or at least the main character is a guy who is the head of, of a multi-billion-dollar Korean tech company that's about to launch these smart contact lenses. And a young kid essentially contacts him in the middle of the night that says, I need to speak with you. It's super important. And he kind of like gets his attention, and says, go to Grenada and go to this hostel that I frequent, and I got to go, hangs up, and this guy disappears. The kid is a programmer who has developed a game that is an AR game that works with the contact lenses. And in Grenada, in this city, in Grenada, or in Grenada, it's the city, in this particular area on and around the Alhambra, and it is medieval. So it's set back in the times of the Aragon, they've got soldiers, like you start the game and soldiers actually attack you. And then you have to go to places within Grenada to pick up your next sword. And you have to run there and survive. And it is all AR through these lenses. And it is also a Korean drama, and it is super good.
It almost sounds like a
super good,
kind of like a Westworld season 1.
It's like a bit like
mixing this game with the real world.
Yes, it is a bit like Westworld season 1,
just without all the nature of consciousness shit.
Without the nature of consciousness shit, with a much more technological thriller to it, and a little more Korean style romance sort of clearly happening.
I would like to.
Both of these are on Netflix. Both of these are excellent. Mystic Pop-Up Bar, I adored. Memories of the Alhambra is a little disturbing.
I think I added that one to my queue. I've added a bunch of South Korean shows to my queue because honestly, no one does crime drama like South Korea. They have taken the David Fincher torch and ran with it.
Yep. They do crime drama better than us. They do romance in some ways better than us, and they do skin car better than us. The Koreans are kicking our asses, and they did COVID better than us.
Wait, worse or better?
They did it better. South Korea shut down the entire country and tested everybody in the country in 2 weeks.
That depends what you mean by better. I think we've done COVID better because we have more.
No, sorry, I am not a misanthrope. I think when you kill more people, it's bad. But that's just me.
But it always there's one line from the cartoon Invader Zim that I always remember as being the best. In the first episode, they're like to the Zim character, like, you started a fire, you made them worse. And he's like, made them worse or better? But the one thing that gets me about South Korean shows is that they're fucking long. Like, there are episodes that hit 90 minutes on average, and it's like,
no, they are very, very long. In fact, I am going to play the trailer for you for Memories of the Alhambra, and there's no sound obviously, but it is really quite good.
Copyright infringement.
No, I don't think so because we're making commentary. This show is
Okay.
tremendous, and honestly, it makes me want to move to Spain because it's beautiful. It's paced super well. It's super scary, and at the same time, it is got this technological
Wait, did
edge
that
to
say
it.
Doctor of Strange?
Huh?
Is like writer of W, Doctor of Strange?
Possibly. It is a super, super good show, especially for gamers, because of course it goes right down to our and it's not going to get copyright infringement because it's a trailer. It's what the trailer is here for.
Yeah, true. I'm
So, and
part
the
of
thing is that there's a lot of speaking in the past, like, if only I'd have known a year ago that I made this horrible mistake, and you're still going through it trying to figure out what horrible
oh,
mistake has led to so it's a little bit of a past tale. So its pacing is a little weird, it's a little off,
I mean, I would
but
expect that when, every episode is an hour and can hit like 70 minutes. The
right.
pacing can always be.
And the video, the special effects are amazing. Like, I
Hmm.
can't believe either they made an amazing set in order to do many of the scenes, or they got they did it in Grenada, and I can't believe that they got that, or Granada. I can't believe they got that permission to do
Hmm.
it.
I'm kind of getting a Gantz vibe from it,
A little
which
bit.
is this anime manga about people forced to fight monsters in like this death game. Which, if you're looking for a good fucked up thing to make you feel bad about life, read Gantz.
Yeah, I don't need that. I
Oh,
really don't.
I never finished it. I read it like fan translated. I got to go back to it because I want to know how it finished. It went in some fucking wild directions. But man, I just have to say, Gantz is one of those things that like it begins as this truly deeply nihilistic, like, oh man, there's no good people, and just the arc that it goes into at the end of like, oh fuck, you became like a superhero show, but you literally started from scumbag piece of shit. And it's like, oh my god, this, when you look at the full scope of it, you're like, this is amazing. But like, it starts with scumbag pieces of shit fighting monsters, and it's like, this is cool action, but also I hate everyone.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem with a lot of shows is that they
Yeah.
make the protagonist not likable, and I gotta like the person that paying attention to.
Yeah. Oh, Gantz
Bitter
was,
says Bitters is not on Team Nick for this one. Bitter says Gantz was bad.
well, it depends. There are multiple versions of it. I think all the anime versions were pretty bad. But the manga is the only thing that actually finished.
Right. All right. So should we hit news? It
Yeah, sure,
kind
I
of
guess so.
seems like it might be news time. We have talked about everything other than games, so it
Yeah,
might as well
true. It's been
hit
about
the
an hour and
news.
a half too.
Yeah. All right. So let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds News, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie and Nick Dinicola. And our first item is, man, I don't know if I want to hit all of the sexual assault stuff now or wait until the end, because we could literally talk for the next hour about all of the revelations, all of the firings, all of the bannings.
Yeah.
It's kind of the big news in gaming, like, holy shit.
Which,
But
okay, there was other stuff that happened
there was there was other stuff that happened that
that I can
is so
talk about.
let's hit the other stuff that happened, not because it's more important, just to get it out of the way, because
This is a buffer.
because otherwise we're going to be talking about this whole sexual assault stuff, because there's so much now happening in the Me Too finally hitting the gaming industry and the comic industry and the tabletop industry, everything. So
So I feel like this Avengers game cannot catch a break because
yeah.
they had their big show off thing this week where they really just showed off what the game was, like how it worked, how progression worked, how like the leveling system worked, all that. But then all these accusations came out at the end of the week and really overshadowed all of that. And
Right.
so I watched the Avengers thing, and it actually looks good. But even when that game has a good showing, it can't catch a break, and everyone it gets swept under the rug by everything else. So
Right.
part of me, like I said, that game just can't catch a break.
It kind of reminds me of, and this is way back in the day before when internet chat was like incredible news. Like nobody did internet chatting, social chatting. Uh, I was involved with a network in San Francisco called SFNet, and I was supposed to be on the front cover of Time magazine because they were going to talk about the bleeding edge of technology and people using the internet and computers for being social. And they went and shot a bunch of photos of me, in a bar in San Francisco, and I was supposed to be like the cover image. And that was the week that Michael Jackson got busted the first time for child molestation and or child abuse. And yeah, and I was in the article. There was a big article in there, but I wasn't the cover of Time. I would have
Yeah,
been otherwise. Fuck Michael Jackson. So it's same thing, same kind of situation where it's like Avengers comes out, should have been the big lead for the day. Everybody talking, oh my god, the Avengers is out, and no, it is all Me Too.
yeah, which is unfortunate because like the E3 show for that originally was really bad because it
Hmm.
didn't actually show anything. But
Right?
this time, when they showed off what the game is, it actually looks pretty fun.
It does.
Um, I'm impressed with what they showed. Just like the way that it seems they handle the characters is that um, you'll be able to get equipment and armor and stuff and kind of customize that to make your attacks slightly different, sort of give them basically like status effects. And so that allows you to customize a character that's different from what I customize as. And at the same time, you can get like different costumes, and they showed off. It feels like they're really embracing the whole history of these Marvel characters because you can get a whole bunch of goofy costumes and sort of mix them and match them. Uh, the way that the story works is that you do it from a menu, and it seems like you can kind of hop in and hop out with co-ops as you see fit. Um, they showed off a bunch of Thor gameplay, and it looked like a fun like beat 'em up type of RPG, but
Hmm.
it's like a beat 'em up RPG where you get to customize your powers, and that seems like a really cool thing. And so,
Is he really wearing a "Hi, my name is Thor" badge?
yes.
That's awesome.
Oh, I think it's hi. My name is, and it's his civilian name
Oh, okay.
because that is like a throwback costume to his original incarnation when he was like a mild mannered doctor who then transforms into Thor.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, it's like there's not much to say about it other than just it looks really fun. And seeing him smash around, it's like, oh, this looks like just a good, solid action game, which
yeah,
is honestly more than we've ever seen of it before.
right. And
And
it looks great.
yeah, and like with Thor, like the way he swings his hammers and throws it up, and that you can then fly around the arena using his hammer, like that looks really fun. It looks like they're really taking advantage of what it means to be Thor. Uh, yeah, like the moves seem appropriately customized to each character. The story, the one thing that I was surprised at is Miss Marvel, Camilla Khan.
Hmm.
Uh, she's a big part of this game, way bigger than I was expecting. And I think she looks like a ton of fun to play as because the way her powers work is she's kind of stretchy like Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, but
Hmm.
she can change her size. So like her fist grows really huge and then stretches out like a Looney Tunes-esque thing and smashes into someone. And the way that they animate those moves and the way that they've animated her attacks looks like a lot of fun. And I was watching that going like, holy shit, my biggest takeaway is I don't want to be Thor. I want to play as her. Uh, and I think you can see it somewhere in the video. But yeah, just I think it's the way they animate her attacks and just look like a ton of goofy fun.
Yeah, I have not been interested in an Avengers game, certainly, or either a DC game. I'm not a huge Avengers fan. So the property itself does not draw me to it, and I'm drawn to this game because it looks fun.
Mhm. So as some, I haven't caught. I know what happens in the Marvel universe, but like I haven't read super recently. But AC Wraith had a point that in the comics, Ms. Marvel has an issue with the Avengers and forms her own team of like teenage superheroes called the Champions. I don't know if that will be in this game. I think this game is like basically just telling its own story within the universe, but it's taking a lot of inspiration from the comics. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, just the fact that she's in there is like, even then, the problem with this at E3 is that they showed off like the original Avengers cast and then had the voice actors talking about these characters. And it's like, I know who the Avengers are. I just saw a movie that made $3 billion. Like, we know who these characters are.
You
don't
don't
need
have
an
to explain the
intro.
characters.
And so to see this actually introduce her as a playable character and be like, okay, that's cool. Like, that's something new. Like, that's what you would want to lead has. That should have been your lead.
Right.
Like this, a new thing rather than just like, hey, you can play as this character that you already know about. But yeah, I like it. They showed off a costume of Hulk in like a 20s gangster striped suit. That's like, okay, this is going in the right goofy direction for Marvel games.
Yeah. Let's see. My first non-sexual assault item is that Mixer.
Oh,
Did you hear
yeah.
about Mixer? That was the other big news of this week. To make myself a banner for it. Mixer. Microsoft announced this week that they would be officially shutting down Mixer. It is gone. It is over. It's going to happen on July 22nd. And they're going to partner with Facebook from now on. So the shutdown is already started. It started last week. Earlier this week. A transition plan has been laid out for most of the Mixer streamers of any note. Partners are going to be granted partner status with Facebook Gaming, and the platform is going to honor all and match all existing partner agreements as closely as possible, according to Microsoft's blog. This, of course, comes after. First off, they acquired Mixer for a shit ton of money.
They didn't acquire Mixer.
Didn't they acquire Mixer? I thought
No,
they purchased Mixer. They spent a shit ton of money on it.
Yeah, it's theirs. Like, they built it.
Okay.
It's Microsoft owned thing. But then they went out to try to buy a bunch of talent.
Right. They bought the talent for it, and including Ninja and Shroud with multi-million-dollar contracts to be exclusive. They pulled them off Twitch to Mixer, and I can't believe how fast that failed.
Well,
I'm not surprised it failed.
From what
I'm
surprised
how fast it failed, because it was last year or 2 years ago that they made the big announcement at
it was
PAX West that Ninja was coming over.
It could have been 1, it could have been 2. I honestly don't know.
It was not long ago. Long enough that this was like, what?
But I remember reading, I've read that like when Ninja moved over, his viewers just didn't. Like, his numbers never got to the height that they were on Twitch.
Right.
Like, the audience just didn't follow him. And for Mixer in general, the audience just wasn't there.
Yep. Yeah. And Mixer streamers, employees, and partners, reportedly some of them were not given a heads up about the shutdown. So they found out about it in the news the day that it started happening, which is fucked up. And I'm not talking about this. No, I mean, streamers, obviously some streamers wouldn't know that. It would be the big ones that they would worry about. But employees and partners should absolutely, if you're a partner with Mixer, you should have been told beforehand that this was about to happen. So a lot of these players that are, like fairly well known and fairly solid on the platform of Mixer are now scrambling to figure out what they're going to do, because now they can either go to Facebook, which I don't know that people will make the jump from a gaming platform, an exclusive gaming platform, to something like Facebook streaming.
Yeah, well, because they say it's Facebook gaming, which
It's
apparently
Facebook
is its
gaming.
own thing, but I
Right.
I don't know too much about that, so I don't
Facebook,
know how separate that is from
I'm
the
not
rest
really
of
sure
Facebook.
why they would make a Facebook gaming. Why wouldn't they make an Instagram gaming? Facebook has the wrong demographic for a gaming platform, and they shouldn't be competing on that. Facebook's gaming or Facebook's core demographic, are people my age. I'm an exception to the rule. I am by no means the rule. I'm a perfect example that I am a perfect example of that. I might like gaming. Absolutely love gaming. I've been doing a big gaming podcast. You can't get any more gamer than me for the last decade plus. But I don't watch streaming of games.
Mm-hmm.
Don't watch it on Twitch. Don't watch it on Facebook. Didn't watch it on Mixer. I don't watch streaming of games unless it happens to be a friend of mine. And even if I am, I'm kind of bored by watching them. I don't watch streamers.
I've wanted to get into it more just because there are a couple games that I think I find more fun to watch than to play, like Ubisoft's Sword Fighter, For Honor. For Honor, Rainbow Six Siege. I think it's super fun watching competitions of those, but dude, I cannot fucking play those for the life of me. But yeah, was it AC Wraith had a point that it's messed up how a lot of these people can go to Twitch at the same time that a lot of these sexual harassment accusations are coming out about Twitch streamers and the Twitch company. Or they can go to Facebook at a time when boycotts of Facebook are taking off like really well. It's sort of like there's no good alternative to go to.
And it's a shame because Mixer would have been that alternative.
Yeah, well, it seems like from what I've seen, some speculation that Phil Harrison, was that his name? Is that the Microsoft guy? Or am I getting that mixed up with another Phil? What was the musician that killed somebody? Phil
Collins?
Collins? Oh, no.
No.
Okay, I think it's Phil Harrison. I think he's the guy from Microsoft.
No, Phil Harrison was the Sony guy.
No, he's Microsoft.
Pretty sure Phil Harrison was the guy from Sony.
There was a Microsoft head honcho who basically said like, hey, like we're getting rid of Mixer.
He was a former You're right. Phil Harrison was the one who fucked up with the Xbox One and made promises about the Xbox One.
That's not Phil Harrison. That was Don Matrick.
No. Don Matrick was the one at E3 who was just a dick about it.
Yeah,
but
Phil Harrison
was the one that made statements when they did the reveal of the Xbox One up in Seattle. Yes. You're thinking it's Phil Spector. Oh, Phil Spector. Oh, yes. That's
I always get the Phils confused.
Yes. But Phil Harrison was the guy who made all of these assertions about sharing early on that were completely wrong. Like, if he'd actually talked to his people, they would have told him, no, that's not how it works. But he just opened up his mouth, said stuff, and then the people actually working on the Xbox One had to go back on and say, actually, what Phil just told you is exactly wrong. It's the opposite of that. Phil's wrong.
Well, in his defense, he has made the Xbox good again.
You're thinking about Phil Spencer.
Is
Phil
he
Spector.
in it now?
No, Phil Spector.
No, Phil Spector was the musician.
Yes. No.
Phil Harrison is the guy in charge of Xbox now, right?
No. Phil Harrison was the corporate vice president of Microsoft before. He's now the vice president and general manager of Google.
Who's in charge of Xbox now then?
Okay. This is Phil Harrison.
No, who's in
Phil
charge of Xbox
Spencer.
now? Is it? God damn it, people! Name your son something else.
That's
Wait.
Phil Spencer.
Okay, Phil Spencer. That's why I kept getting it mixed up with Spectre.
It's not Spectre. Yes.
Yeah, but that's why I kept. Okay,
Because Phil Spector is the guy who killed that
Yes.
woman.
Okay,
Yeah, was
Phil.
Motown.
Going back to
Motown.
the original point, Phil
Okay.
Spector. No, God damn it.
Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer had a statement where he basically said, we're getting rid of Mixer so we can focus on other things with the Xbox brand. And people have speculated that because Mixer wasn't pulling in the numbers they wanted, they couldn't quite justify giving away that Azure, their like cloud programming data stuff, giving away that bandwidth to Mixer when Microsoft is working on their own streaming service with xCloud. And that basically by getting rid of Mixer, it frees up a lot of that Azure data cloud capability to focus on xCloud. I'm going to say this is on first.
AC Wraith put in the chat a link to the Abbott and Costello's Who's on First skit. Thank you, asshole. So anyway, yes. And but bottom line, Mixer is not just like, hey, we're shutting it down. It's we're pulling the plug starting today, and it's going to be done in less than a month.
That sucks, especially when you've been streaming on there exclusively. That's kind of your income to just have that disappear overnight.
And I could say about audiences with Ninja does not surprise me. It does not surprise me that his audience did not move with him. I mean, I'm a very small podcaster. We're very small podcasters. I see what happens when we move hours, not just hours within the same day, moving it from Sundays at 9 o'clock in the morning to Sundays at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I absolutely see that we drop like multiple, like significant percentages, like a third to 45% of our audience disappears when we move days or times every single time. And it takes sometimes years for those numbers to come back. And in many cases, they never come back. They never, ever, ever come back. So yeah, I could absolutely see when he moved from Twitch to Mixer that the people didn't move along with him. And I would probably guess it was along the same lines. At least a third to 45% of he lost his audience. And he probably gained back 50% of what he lost. But that other 50% of what he lost, half of what he lost, never came back, never moved over.
And I think, like I've read other people writing that basically say it's because with a lot of this, people on Twitch, like they're not just watching Ninja, they watch other people. And so to change the thing that you're watching, like for one guy, that's a lot to ask. It's like, well, okay, he left. I'll just go watch someone else on Twitch because this is the
because you have to log out and log back into a whole other platform just to watch Ninja when you literally have a whole bunch of people you can watch over on Twitch.
I have the Twitch app. I have a Twitch subscription. Like I'm paid into this ecosystem. It's hard to jump to another paid ecosystem. Like unless. Like,
and all my friends are here.
And all that. Yeah,
it's the same concept of consoles. All my friends are here. I'm not going to move because a game. I'm not going to buy a whole new console because one of the games that I really, really love is exclusive to the other console because all my friends are here.
Yeah, it's that ecosystem, and Twitch just because it's been around longer.
Fucking Microsoft makes that mistake again. Again. They didn't learn. Excuse me.
I mean, they tried. It was a valiant effort. I mean, and certainly when they were trying, Twitch was going through enough trouble, and even now it's been enough trouble that you would hope some alternative could arise to challenge it. But I guess not. I guess we're all just stuck with
If
Twitch.
if Mixer had held on a little bit longer and positioned itself as this is where this is the safe place. You know, Twitch characterized Twitch as to be as bad as it is because Twitch is bad. We'll get into it, but Twitch is bad. Twitch is known about its problems that are now just starting to address. Many of these they have known for 4 years and done nothing, did not care because the money was rolling in from their big names and did not care that there was sexual assault going on and that they were preying upon teenage girls like minors. They didn't care. Now all of a sudden they're starting to care. And Microsoft, if it had been smart, it would have started off characterized Twitch for being what it is, a cesspool, and said, hey, we're the safe space. We're the alternative to Twitch. You hate what's going on at Twitch. All of you fans and all of you developers and all of you streamers that are being sexually harassed and assaulted over on Twitch, come to us.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us your Twitch story of sexual harassment and we will give you a free year. People would have come over and told them all the dirty secrets instead of waiting all this time for people to for women to say something on Twitter. They could have done that, but they didn't. Don't know why. Anyway.
Well, that's an appropriate segue.
Yeah. Might as well start hitting it because we've certainly talked around it enough times, and it certainly should come as no surprise to anybody since it has been all over the freaking news. What hasn't? Who hasn't at this point? What company hasn't been called out for keeping a sexual abuser or somebody that has been doing sexually inappropriate stuff to women and young girls on their platform, whether it be a developer? Is there anybody that's not getting under investigation now?
I don't know the specifics of companies. I know Ubisoft had a bunch, and they've actually fired a couple guys, and then one guy, the director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, in a related situation, but not the sexual assault accusations, but basically a woman came out and said, hey, he dated me for a year, even though he was already married, FYI. And so he has stepped down from Valhalla. It doesn't seem like he was fired like the other guys were for sexual assault. It seems more like he stepped down because his personal life is kind of in a shitty spot at the moment because of his affair. And so he's sort of dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that's what's happened at Ubisoft.
And then there were two additional employees at Ubisoft. So the guy that you're talking about is, where is it? Ashraf Ismail, who is one of the creative directors of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. He is taking a leave of absence. And like I said, the allegations were that he has had multiple affairs with women, which is bad, but it's not fireable. But he had actually maintained long-term relationships with women, telling them that he was not married and stringing them along for years and essentially using many of the Ubisoft events to be his hunting grounds for new meat to bring into his harem of women who all had no idea that they were dating a married man. And then right after that, Multiple employees at Ubisoft, including 2 executives, have been placed on administrative leave as the company starts a corporate investigation, because it's apparently not just a couple people. It is ubiquitous right now at Ubisoft. Professional misconduct of tons of on levels. 2 executives were placed on leave. Those were Tommy Francois and Maxime Balland. They were 2 employees that serve as vice presidents in a division overseeing worldwide development of the company's brands. This is according to Bloomberg, that broke the story. Both men faced numerous allegations that surfaced after multiple accusers came forward on Twitter, with stories of inappropriate comments, in some cases sexual assault, in some cases just improprieties. But yeah, and it's not just those 2, it's a ton of employees. Those are the only 3 that have been named, but Bloomberg says that it is multiple employees within Ubisoft. In addition, Noah Bradley, who you might know from Magic the Gathering, an artist for Magic the Gathering, has been cut off from all work from Wizards of the Coast after a number of serious sexual assault allegations were made against him over the past week. He's worked for companies like Disney and Valve. He went on to Twitter and did admit that he was a, quote, shitty, creepy sexual predator who, quote, preyed on young women and, quote, pressured them into sex. So he has admitted this. Hunted down young women and pressured them into sex. Then there comes Cards Against Humanity. Hear about that one?
Yeah.
Max
Temkin.
Max Temkin. Max Temkin, who is one of the original 8 co-founders of Cards Against Humanity, finally, after many, many, many years, and I'm really surprised it took this long, Cards Against Humanity has been called out for creating a hostile work environment, particularly around Max Temkin, who had a horrible temper and would destroy people who brought up something that he wasn't happy with, like accusations of inappropriate behavior. Cards Against Humanity he has resigned from his position at Cards Against Humanity. Under these allegations that he was a, quote unquote, harbinger of a toxic work environment. There was a huge story in Polygon that just paints the whole concept of working at Cards Against Humanity as being, for some people, a living nightmare of epic proportions. So he has stepped down and won't be working with them. I can't believe that Cards Against Humanity didn't have an HR department, and like that was a selling point, that they didn't have HR.
Yeah, like in retrospect, it seems
What are they fucking
inevitable
thinking?
that something that, Cards Against Humanity has, that, like they said, the story that you mentioned goes into the sexist and racist work environment there, which makes sense when you consider what Cards Against Humanity is. But it's still you would have hoped that the game, the people making it were not horrible people, even though it's a game for horrible people, as it advertises. Ideally, it's a tongue-in-cheek thing that's like, oh, it's not that bad, actually. The people working there are in on the joke, but not really. That apparently a lot of suggestions for black cultured cards were just rejected because a lot of people I don't get it. And so it created this very difficult sort of cyclical environment where nothing ever changes.
Right. And let's see, what were you talking about? There was something that came up, and then I got and also Cards Against Humanity has removed a ton of cards from its deck. One of the things that in that article was that Max Temkin had always said that when it comes to Cards Against Humanity's sense of humor, it tried to punch up rather than punch down. But if many of the cards were absolutely punching down usually at women and people of color. And many people of color said, hey, you might want to take these out. And Max Temkin would not take them out because he thought they were funny. It's the bro culture. That no matter what he said about punching up, not punching down, he regularly punched down. And usually, and if somebody, countermanded him or something made him mad and he was in a bad mood, he made it hell for people in the office. As someone who just left a job that was exactly like that, I can say it is bad for your health. It is horrible to work in that kind of toxic environment. Then, moving right along, Chris Avallone, the writer on a number of renowned role-playing games, including Planescape, Torment, Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, and Fallout New Vegas. He has now also similarly been called out as a sexual predator.
And he's probably the most high-profile person so far.
By a long shot. He also worked on Dying Light 2. He's been accused of groping, sexual harassment, and other incidents which took place in the game industry networking events. He hasn't really had much of a reply about it on Twitter. He did apologize to some of the women. He did not mention other women, but it is multiple women who have all said that they were either sexually assaulted, inappropriately touched, groped, or in general, just him being an ass, and sexually harassed by him for years, like something like years and years. Let's see. Another one is, the Dark Horse one is so bad. So, Dark Horse editor-in-chief Scott Alley. One of his former writers, Shauna Gore, who worked for the company for 14 years, outlined on Twitter a sustained sexual abuse that went the entire length that she was there, to the point of where he shoved his hands, according to her, in a van at some kind of industry event. He got in the van behind her into the back seat and was essentially sexually assaulting her with his hands down her pants, trying to penetrate her while the rest of the team was all in the van. And she could not get away from him and was just fighting as much as she could, and not feeling like if she said anything in the van that anyone would stop. But that assault and those sexual abuse went on for the entire 14 years. That was just how it started, and it just kept going. Dark Horse now has officially said that they will not be working with Scott Alley now or in the future. His removal from every Dark Horse project will be followed by sincere and active change. Dark Horse Comics will dedicate itself to ensuring that this will not ever happen again within our company. So cut ties with the editor-in-chief. Yeah, I don't know. Kotaku did a really nice job of covering that, simply because they did not outline exactly what happened. I had to actually go onto the Twitter thread in order to read it, but they made it clear that it was shockingly bad, and for decades, a decade and a half.
There's something about Kotaku too that I can mention at the end.
Yeah.
And I forget who, I'm trying to figure out who linked it, but it was a story about specifically how a Kotaku reporter reported a story like this. I'm trying to find out. AC Wraith did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way back in the beginning.
Yep. Then we got another one that happened. Then there was the let's see. Oh, and then after all of that, then Twitch started. And over this last weekend, not this weekend, but the last weekend, the trickle of harassment stories surrounding influential figures throughout gaming started to become a flood on Twitch. More than 50 streamers, most of them women, shared dozens of stories that have resulted in many high-profile streamers having their accounts banned for life. Twitch has rolled out permanent bans starting on Wednesday night. They say we've prioritized the most severe cases and will begin issuing permanent suspensions in line with our findings immediately. In many cases, the alleged incidents took place off Twitch, and we need more information to make a determination. Now, they did not outright name any of the streamers that they got rid of. They dumped, but there was a Twitter account that's dedicated to cataloging these bans. And the so far users I Am Spoon, Bless RNG, Warwitch TV, Dreaded Cone, and Wolf 21 have been taken off the service. The biggest ones that have been accused of misconduct are Tom Syndicate Castle and Destiny 2 streamer Lano Say No to Rage. Lano has admitted that he was inappropriate, and he made issued a video apology to the women that he assaulted and was inappropriate to. And Castle denies any sexual assault allegations at all. They also, Twitch also banned Dr. Disrespect, which...
Well, that
Come
seems
on.
to be...
It took years for that to happen.
Yeah, but that also comes in this weird nebulous thing where they haven't actually given a reason for it, because no one's accused him of anything. He's not named in all this stuff. He has done a lot of stuff in the past, like Push the Line, and he was banned for a while, like in the last E3 for streaming from a bathroom, which was illegal. But that is a weird situation because he's one of the biggest streamers, but then he was banned with no actual reason given amongst all this.
I think that Twitch is Twitch has wanted to ride this bro line between like, you really shouldn't do that, but you make us a lot of money. And now that it's coming clear, we're having this confluence of all of these like, you really shouldn't do that, but you make us a lot of money situations all coming together and being coalesced into this red ball of evil. And they're doing the right thing. They are severing all ties with all evil, because you can't quibble about this. They literally, some of these streamers that they're banning now, these are accusations that come as far back as 2014 to 2016 when they were doing inappropriate things. And they were literally, their stories were going all the way up the food chain to the very top, and then nothing happened. And they cannot, now that all of these voices are all saying, hey, I said this in 2014. Hey, I said this in 2016. Hey, I said this in 2015. They've got to clean house. Otherwise, it's just going to keep happening. They cannot, you can't say on one side that you're going to clean house and then keep somebody like Dr. Disrespect. Dr. Disrespect literally broke... All of those other guys, they were inappropriate and offensive and in some cases rapey. Dr. Disrespect on live stream video broke laws, broke federals and state law.
Also,
and did it on the channel.
Yes, I think we can put that particular wrongdoing lower than rape.
Oh yes, absolutely. They can put it, but
like in terms of the hierarchy.
All of those guys did all of those things either around their. It wasn't actually There was no photographic evidence. They didn't
It
do it
wasn't
on their
recorded.
streams. This guy did it, recorded, broke a law, not only a decent, completely inappropriate, but also broke laws on the stream by broadcasting from a public bathroom.
Oh yeah. Um,
It
it's just
doesn't
still,
get
it's
any more.
still,
If you can't bust Dr. Disrespect for doing that, how could you possibly
did.
bust guys for
did.
others? They did for what, a
They
month?
banned him for a bit, yeah. But that's the strange thing, is just that they didn't actually come out with a specific reason. And it feels a lot like how politicians will often put out, or politicians and companies will often put out really negative stories. Uh, like, oh shit, our stock is down a lot on a Friday evening, because they know that people read less news on Friday evening, that goes into the weekend and it just kind of gets lost amongst the shuffle. This feels a lot like that, where they're like, we're banning all these other people. How about we just ban him too? We don't have to give a reason, but just, mix it in with all the other stuff.
Possibly. But I think that you cannot say that you're cleaning house and then leave Dr. Disrespect on there.
No, it's a matter of like, just say this is why you're doing it.
Right.
And that's where the controversy around him comes from, is because they've been silent. Like, they can say, yeah, we're banning all these other people because of all these harassment,
Right.
but they don't mention it with him, and it just makes him stand out in a way that is confusing and leads to, conspiracy theories and all that.
They can conspiracy theory all they want. But my case in point, Duggan White, his comment that I have on the screen right now, I wasn't aware all this lewdness was taking place within the streaming community. And let me say this as a woman within the gaming community, maybe not the streaming community, but the gaming community. And let's face it, gaming community is the streaming community in most cases. I knew it was happening. Absolutely. And I'm like an old lady that's never actually been, knock on wood, never been sexually harassed by anyone within the industry. But I think that's probably because I am the age of most of these guys' moms, and in some cases grandmothers. But that speaks volumes to what is wrong with this whole industry, in that somebody clearly likes games enough to actually listen to our show would not know that this is absolutely a thing. And if you are actually trying to make a living in this industry, it is absolutely a thing. Many of these women were told that if you don't sleep with me, I'll make sure you don't work in this industry again. The casting couch. A lot of these women are posting that. Some of them, I think Avelino was one of them, that said, if you want to he actually tried to pressure a girl to have a 3-way upstairs with his wife because making connections in the industry is so important. That is flat out casting couch bullshit. And yeah, it's been going on, and it's been going on for a really, really long time. It is the dark, unspoken secret of this industry. And I hate to say it, happens when you let bros go nuts. And Twitch is a classic situation of bros gone wild. It's sick and it's sad and it's true. And I'm sorry, Duggan, to like throw back the curtains on this one, but yeah, it fucking happens, and it happens all the time. Sorry, soapbox. It's the only industry where I've ever been really happy that I'm the age of everybody's grandmother, because I have not. I feel like I'm kind of immune to this. Thank God it's never happened to me, because I would be in a terrible position as a tiny podcaster. Also, I don't rely upon this show for money. I've never tried to make money off of it. That's kind of, honestly, a reason why I didn't. Because I was a woman in this industry running a podcast. I did not want to rely upon.
Vulnerable situation.
Put you in an incredibly vulnerable position. And that's why I never pursued like sponsorships or, never pursued that. Early on, I got a taste of what it was like to be in the industry when I was working with Platform Nation. I got an early taste of what it was like essentially walked away from that and walked away from ever considering trying to make any money on it, simply because I didn't want to be in a position of that kind of vulnerability. Yep.
So on this subject, early on, beginning of the show, AC Wraith linked me to this blog. That's definitely something to keep in mind amongst all these allegations for harassment. And this is a woman who had been mentioned in the article about Jeremy Soule, who was the composer for Skyrim and other games.
Right.
And Kotaku put out an article about this years ago and mentioned her because she did an interview where she talked about what had happened to her. And this blog post goes into basically the article published like details of her rape more so than what she was comfortable with. And she says that she had been misled by the author about what exactly would be included in this. And so between that and just the experience of arguing back and forth with Kotaku about how to edit the article, eventually they did edit it to take out the more detailed descriptions of what happened to her. But they're basically like, there's a correct way to report on these things and a less correct way, in that sometimes you don't have to get into the nitty-gritty details of what happened, which is what that article did, which is what she said, like, I was under the impression, based on my interview with the author, that these details would not be published. That, that basically I had to give you these details in order for like a lawyer to vet the article as able to go, but that it wouldn't be published. Yeah. So there's a whole thing about that that is definitely an interesting read.
Right. And I think that Kotaku probably learned from that, because if you look at all of the reporting on Kotaku, by the way, it was going through the week's worth of news was incredibly upsetting, depressing, and still kind of inspiring that it's all happening now. But it was like every other story was about somebody being suspended. And all of these, by the way, all the guys that we just mentioned, all of them have lost their jobs or have been put on leave. So all the women that are coming forward now are being supported by the companies that are accusing them, including, surprisingly, Twitch. So companies are starting to take this seriously. But in all of the stories on Kotaku, they do not go into detail other than saying it's, accusations of either if it was sexual assault or improprieties or whatever. They don't go into much details about it. But they will link the Twitter thread from the accuser, so that if you want to read the details, you can. So they're letting the women speak for themselves as they've put it out on social media. And I think that that's probably because of the problems that they had previously with putting too much detail about the assaults into their stories, which is the right way to do it. You want if someone is going to come forward with their story, they need to have the agency to be able to talk about what they're comfortable talking about and what they're comfortable making public. And that's the way to do it, saying that there's reports, there's a detail of the assault or detail of the encounter or whatever it was, the improprieties in Twitter. Here's a link to the Twitter feed for yourself. We won't detail it here.
Also, I guess in terms of, I don't know if this has anything to do with the story, but the person who wrote that article for Kotaku doesn't work there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if if that's why she left or whatever, but she's just not there anymore.
I'm sure
So
that there was, when that came out, when you have somebody that is the victim of a sexual assault saying that they were essentially feel assaulted again by the reporter that was supposed to be covering the story to bring the story to light. I'm sure Kotaku took that very seriously and that there were
mhm.
repercussions for it. There's no question in my mind. Kotaku doesn't dare be part of the problem because they're literally the ones that are exposing many of the toxic workplaces. They're the
you
ones that are kind of, them and Polygon are the
you
ones that are
hope.
the the standard bearers of fighting against toxic workplaces and
And Waypoint,
inappropriateness.
I'd say Vice
And
Gaming.
right, and vice, right.
Vice Gaming. But fingers crossed. Like, at the same
I know.
time, I would not be
Don't
surprised if
put it
something
past
came out about
anybody.
all of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
As we're learning, it can happen anywhere.
yeah.
Pretty much when you mix men, women, and gaming together, unless that it
Well,
is under
not just that.
incredibly tight controls and the things are no,
Well, power.
power.
Men with power in a
Men with power
position
and women without it.
of authority.
Right, and women without it in a very in a highly competitive industry. Yeah. What is it with rapey guys, dude? What is it with power? And
Well, I said
here's a
this at
question.
the top of the podcast that
Right.
I think this has to do with the fact that a lot of the Twitch streamers, like the whole Me Too thing, when it first came out, when that first wave hit, like focused on movies and related industries,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't really happen with games. Like, yes, people came out like the whole Jeremy Soule thing, but it was more of one-off events. Was this is sort of like the Me Too reckoning that happened then, happening with gaming and related industries.
Right.
But with Twitch in particular, like those guys are just guys. Like it's just the average guy given a sudden position of celebrity and authority and power. And how do they respond to that? Like that's not taking into account people like Chris Avalon, who've been in the industry for a while and has
Right.
kind of used that position to abuse people. With the Twitch people, it's more like, that old adage of with absolute power corrupts absolutely. Give an average person some semblance of authority and power, and well, they abuse it in a way that serves them. And I think that's what you see a lot of this is people getting a taste of that power and authority and using it and abusing it.
Right.
Because that's sort of the first instinct when you're given that ability.
Yeah, and it's a chicken and the egg. There is so much of it coming out, and yeah, we all know that it's. I mean, not everybody, but women certainly knew that it was all out there. Does gaming attract that mentality of man to work in the industry, or is it that all men, given that level of power and prestige, become that way?
Well,
Do men have a tendency to
gaming
do that?
gaming is a tech industry, and that sort of toxic behavior is rampant in the tech industry because it's the tech industry, and it
Is it
has.
is it the industry that makes the rapey guy, or is it the rapey guy that's making the industry? That's the question.
Well,
Does
yes,
the
it's a,
industry attract that kind of guy, or is a normal seeming guy going into the industry all of a sudden becoming that person?
it's both. Like with every industry, it's both, and it's a play that what is it, a relationship, not a parasitical relationship, what do you call like a
Symbiotic?
symbiotic? Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship like that where one feeds into the other, which feeds into the other. Because the tech industry, and especially gaming, for years was a very like teenage boy focused thing. And even though it's been trending away from that for decades, you still have a lot of people fighting against that. Like the whole Gamergate culture emerged as a reaction to the growing inclusivity and diversity of gaming. And that also comes from like that was a reaction to the growing inclusivity and diversity of society and the larger focus reaction to that. Trump is a Gamergate reaction to the growing focus on inclusivity and diversity in the larger society.
Yeah.
And this is a reaction to that. Like, I don't basically, like what you said, like, do these industries attract people? Well, no, because it's always been that way. Like, this isn't a new thing. It's just people getting called out on it is new. That's the only new thing here, is that like this situation and these power dynamics have been going on since the tech industry boomed up in Silicon Valley originally.
Right. But if you have, I mean, we've gone through the gaming industry multiple generations at this point, and when you have this pervasive culture of sexual impropriety to women, et cetera, that have been going on for a really long time, obviously people have come into the industry after the existence of this culture was there. So the question is are those people attracted to the industry because they're like that, and is the industry acting as a magnet towards these rapey guys? And then, because all these guys started out as a nobody, they weren't born into power, and yet they acquired power despite the fact that they're kind of rapey.
That's the same thing about the movie industry. It's been around even longer.
Does it breed success to be a rapey guy in the game industry because you're one of the bros? Or were you like a normal, mild-mannered guy who was not rapey, came into the industry and became rapey once you got there?
I think a lot of this is also, I forget the specific name of the effect, but like there's a psychological, there's a term for it in psychology where
it's not
you think
Stockholm syndrome.
No. Where you think you give more weight to something that you notice. Well, like, I think I'm psychic because I know who's going to answer the call before I pick up the phone.
It's It's not cognitive. It's that thing where
but it's
cognitive resonance, that you choose to notice or pay more attention to things that agree with you and agree with what you think.
Well, I don't pay attention.
Into your mindset.
I forget all the times I answer the phone and I don't know who's talking. But all the times I answer the phone and like I know who's talking before I pick up, is like, oh, I must be psychic. Mm-hmm. It certainly seems like this is widespread, but also you don't hear about the people that don't rape, right?
Right.
Those people, they never make the news because
Kotaku needs to do an article of all the men who aren't rapey in the industry.
Yes, and it's like they're all good streamers, and like that is something that I think is easy to forget. Is like there's a lot of people that don't rape and that don't abuse their power, but that they don't make the news for obvious reasons.
Right.
And so I think that leads to a dissonance where it is easy to like paint the entire industry and related industries with this negative swath that may or may not be undeserved, but like there is widespread abuse, and that needs to be called out. But like I said, maybe
Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, according to DJ Philip B.T.
Is that what
Collins.
It's actually called?
Yes, also known as red car syndrome.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm totally gonna look that up.
So yeah, it's the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, according to Google, is the phenomenon where something you recently learned suddenly appears everywhere.
Yeah, there could be that. Well,
but also this isn't new, but it is.
And speaking against what I was asserting, because it was just kind of a rhetorical question that we were going to explore, a thought experiment. Yeah. We are also hearing all of these reports happening in the span of 1 week, and all these things happened anywhere between 2014 and today.
Yeah.
So we're hearing also, at least, well, actually one of them, 14 years it went on. So we're talking about for more than a decade of reports that are all happening within 1 week, and it makes the industry very much seem like there's a lot more of it than it is. And
And
don't get me
also,
wrong, there's a
this
lot,
is the moment.
but
This
it's
is the
not
moment when
everybody.
Twitch actually started banning people
Right.
because they had heard things before and just didn't do
Just
anything
didn't
about
do
it.
anything about it. Right.
So they're actually taking steps now, which is what leads to the hope that, okay, maybe it won't be so bad in the future. Is that now they're actually taking steps to ban the people that are accused of these things.
And the thing is that when they were ignoring all of these reports that were going literally up all the way to the CEO years ago, that they were kicking this can down the road, and this is that moment when it exploded. And
Yeah.
I just hope that
Yeah.
they have learned that they cannot kick accusations of impropriety, asking of sexual favors or photos from underage girls, all of that stuff. When you don't deal with it immediately, that's exactly what happens. It's not something you deal with by banning a bunch of streamers 1 week in 2020 to make up for all of the last 10 years that you haven't been doing it.
And I
You've
think
got to keep doing it. It's like weeds. You can't just weed your front yard and say, "Hey, we took care of the weeds. Now we're done." No, you've got to stay on the weeds because they will continue to keep growing, and you got to pull them out as soon as they come up.
well, I think
Otherwise, you're going to get the situation.
this relates to just, like I said, the tech industry. Their larger issue of trying to come to terms with how a platform polices itself. Because I think this is very similar to Twitter dealing with toxic users and Facebook dealing with toxic users, Twitch dealing with toxic users, is the idea that, oh, we're a neutral platform and we just host this content, we don't police it. And like now the slow reckoning of, no, you kind of do have to police it, because if you don't, you give a platform to abusive people and abusive voices.
Right.
And what does that policing look like?
Right. Yeah, this is a long conversation that Twitch has to have with itself that does not end with a bunch of bannings. And all of them. Ubisoft the same way. Thank goodness they're doing an investigation to see how prevalent it is. That's the first thing you've got to do is find out how big the problem is and then figure out what you're going to do to change it. But yeah, there is a lot of soul searching that is going on across the industry. And to be honest, there were so many different stories on so many different news sites about so many men that I actually didn't put them all down. The ones that we talked about were just the big news items. You know, there was several of them that it's like, I can't. We're going to be on. It's going to be the sexual assault show.
It's also a lot
if
of
I keep
streamers
talking
that
about it.
I've never heard of.
Right, a lot of streams. But I'm talking about within the industry, between the comic book industry, the tabletop industry, and the gaming industry.
Oh, yeah.
And Wizards of the Coast had numerous cases of this. So, and it's all, in some cases, not just about sexual assault of women. It's also about racism. Lot of issues about racism that's coming with the Black Lives Matter movement that people are starting to be called out. Things like Wizards of the Coast getting rid of a ton of cards that they've had that were racist cards. Removing those from their Magic the Gathering decks. What was another one? Who is it? Is it FIFA? No, yes. Is it FIFA that is no longer allowing the Confederate flag inside?
Oh, NASCAR.
NASCAR
FIFA
is removing the Confederate.
Shit. They're in
I was going to
Europe.
say FIFA. That it didn't sound right to me either. Don't worry. NASCAR getting rid of Confederate flags within NASCAR's game. You can still have the General Lee, but it hasn't got a Confederate flag on it. So yeah, there's so much soul searching going on right now, and I'm hoping that this is the beginning of change, as opposed to, this will keep the sheeple quiet for a few more years until it gets bad again, and then we'll do it again. You know, rinse, repeat. So yeah, we'll keep you posted, but it's sad. It's upsetting. Doesn't surprise me.
Hmm.
All right, moving. I hate to say moving right along from that, but there are a couple other things that came
Okay,
out this week.
I did have one story that I was just gonna end on, just because of just saving to end on a lighter note.
All right.
This was also the week that Cyberpunk had its showing,
Mm-hmm.
which apparently is actually the first of many. So they didn't show off a whole lot. Um, they just showed off like a new mode in the game that's kind of like a detective vision, where you go inside someone's head and you can hear things that relive their experience, listening to the things they listened to, focusing on things that they saw in order to solve some mystery, which is just kind of a cool new game mode. But that's all they showed off, really. And then a lot of other news outlets had larger previews because they got some hands-on time. But this is apparently like episode one of a months long thing. So next month they'll have a new episode where they show off some other aspect of the game.
Right. Yeah, it sounds cool. I mean, I almost wish that they would just do one big info dump instead of teasing us all the way along, because they're
That
very
that
close to getting to information overload when it's just so there's that fine line between like, I'm excited, I want news, I've got so much news, it's like it's filling up my my news feed, and now by the time it releases it's gonna be like, fuck Cyberpunk 2077. I'm sick of reading about it. It's kind of like, remember Goalie with Halo? That they talked about Halo for so long that by the time Halo came out, everybody was like just in Halo exhaustion. They didn't want to play Halo because it's like, oh, fucking, I've been literally reading about Halo for the last month. It's been filling up my fucking newscast.
really?
Don't you remember that? He like, fuck
Oh, you mean
Halo.
back then? Back then.
Back then,
Yeah.
when Halo first came out, when yeah, the I forget which Halo it was, but one of them was like, fuck Halo. I'm tired of Halo.
No, that's the thing that happened with E3 not being a thing, is
Mm-hmm.
that everyone else has taken the news that normally would have been a burst and have just spread it out.
I wish that I think that's foolish, especially for Cyberpunk, because it's already received so much attention, and if they did one big reveal, that would be great. If they and then let people continue to talk about that one big reveal for a long time, but when you've got, I mean, have you been on GameSpot?
Mm-hmm.
If it weren't for the sexual assault allegations, it would be almost entirely Cyberpunk
Well, see,
2077.
in their defense, it's a good idea that they stretch it out, because now they can have another announcement in a week that's not dominated by sexual assault news.
Yeah, but I think if they stretch it out for too long, that people are just going to be hit maximum saturation on it, and it'd be like, you know what? I'm so tired of hearing about that game. I don't even want it anymore. I could see that happening. My news is that Sony has released a new program. Let's see, hold on a second. It is a bug report program. I'm trying to get my the thing up here. Okay. Yeah, so PlayStation has announced that they have created what they're calling the HackerOne project. And this is a new program that they are inviting the security research community, gamers, and anyone else to test the security of PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Network. They've announced a bug bounty program that awards for various issues, including critical issues on the PS4. Any critical vulnerabilities for the PS4 have bounties on them starting at $50,000. Starting at $50,000. So they're essentially inviting the white hat hackers or the black hat hackers who want to make some serious cash to tell them about the vulnerabilities, and they could make big buckets of money. It is not a small amount.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And like, yeah, that's offer those sort of what was it, bounties?
Mhm.
That's always a
incentives.
good idea.
Yeah, they've had this type of program for quite some time for the research security community. People within the, you know, official white hat hacker type community, they've had a bounty program for them and paid them handsomely for finding security vulnerabilities. But now they are actually opening it up to anyone. Just Joe Schmo gamer, you come across a vulnerability that puts the network in under threat of being hacked, like what happens every freaking Christmas, they will pay you for it, and with 5 figures or more, depending on how bad it is. So if you want to find out more information about it and the exact details, you can go to their HackerOne page. By the way, HackerOne is all is ONE, and it's all one word, and it is hackerone.com/PlayStation. So the rewards for the PlayStation Network run anywhere from actually looks like what they wrote in their press release was not correct. The low level security network rewards are $100 each. Mediums are $400, high is $1,000, and critical is $3,000 for
Maybe I hope
identifying
that it hasn't
bugs.
been updated, because 50,000 is a lot more of an incentive.
Right, but PlayStation 4 itself, the low starts at 500, medium is 2,500, high is 10,000, and critical is 50,000. So it's not
Maybe that's
starting
what they
at
were
50,000. They meant tops out at 50,000.
It's
As much
the
as
whole
50,000.
It's the whole cable subscription. Hey, you're buying up to 70 megabytes speed.
Right.
We won't actually give you that much 90% of the time, but
still, if you're the PlayStation Network, the security risks, the bugs that they want you to find are very much less well paid than actually finding bugs within the PlayStation 4 itself. So it looks like they're getting responses. They've actually got a response efficiency page, and it looks like that if you send in, they're responding to you within 3 hours on average. So yeah, it's got the full freaking page, the domains that are in the scope of this. PlayStation.net, Sony Entertainment Network.com, API PlayStation.com, MyPlayStation.com. That's just some of them that are eligible for the for finding problems with it. But the average bounty right now, they've had 89 reports resolved. 10 of them were within scope, and the average bounty is $400 right now. So you can find out all that information under HackerOne, HackerOne.com/PlayStation. In case you're interested. And do I have anything else?
I had an interesting one. This was just a new one. Neil Druckmann, the director of Last of Us Part 2, said that there's not going to be any story DLC, but that the game might get an added multiplayer mode, which I think is kind of cool, because the first one did have a multiplayer mode ship with it, and it was actually kind of a cool multiplayer mode where you were given very limited ammo and weapons, and you kind of had to literally scavenge stuff in the arena and craft supplies in the middle of the match in order to use, and it was a neat situation. There was also something where it would like take people from your friends list and like populate your virtual community with them, and like as you lost matches, your community lost people, as if it was like people invading your town and killing your civilians. And it was an interesting thing along those lines, but it was a cool multiplayer mode that was actually, it came out at the time when every game shipped with the multiplayer mode, and it was one of the better, more thought out versions of that.
Yeah. I don't know. Multiplayer sounds kind of cool, sort of, maybe. I don't know.
I thought it was neat.
Yeah, sort of. I'm not as excited about Last of Us 2 as you are.
Yeah, that's fine.
The last thing I have is that Square Enix says they are going to announce multiple games individually throughout July and August in lieu of having a press conference. They've said that before, but now they are reiterating it that they'd said that there's going to be individual
It seems like now they're specifying that 2-month time frame.
right. They are specifying that 2-month time period of it's July and August. So you are going to be hearing about a lot of Square Enix games in the next 8 weeks right now.
Okay.
I would imagine they're probably going to start probably next week. I'm hoping. Be nice. But the company also followed up saying that several will debut. Let's see, nothing more specific was said. They recently announced, obviously, we talked about it, Project Althea at the PS5 reveal event. We talked about that last week. And a new action adventure game that is designed exclusively. I did not know it's designed exclusively for the PS5. I didn't know it was exclusive to the PS5. So, yeah. So, anything else, Nick, before we close out the show? You printed a new story anywhere? No?
No.
You writing anything?
No. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing else getting published. I'll let you know when
Good.
something does.
And
I'm always writing something. Like, it's actually fun. I spent years writing like blog posts about video games, and it's like, oh, now that once I stopped doing that, I was like, I'm just gonna not write anything for a year, and now it's like I'm gonna get back into creative writing. It's
Good.
been nice. It's been
nice.
fulfilling.
When we come back next week, we will have Chaos. In case you came to the show late and wondering where he is moving. He was waiting for a apartment. He was staying with friends while he was waiting for an apartment that he had put a deposit down to come available. It was supposed to be like ready in August, and he got a call late this week that said, hey, guess what? They're actually vacating in July 1st, not August 1st. So do you want to move in July 1st? And he was like, fuck yeah. But that means that he's got to pack. So he is packing and getting ready to move. And he's moving this weekend because, of course, he works a job. So he's moving today. Tomorrow. He's packing today, moving tomorrow and the next day to his new place. So he will be broadcasting next week from his new digs, Chaos Central, in another place in Whiskey Flats. Where does he live?
I don't know.
Council Flats.
Okay. And thank you, AC Wraith in the chat, for linking to Scary Snippets Family Edition, which has a story I wrote in it.
Oh, nice. I've yet to read anything of yours that you've written, and I should. I mean, as your friend and supportive of your writing, I really should actually read something one of these days that you've written. Other than a blog post.
Maybe I'll send you something and be like, hey, give me your thoughts on it before I submit it.
Okay. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah?
I wouldn't mind being your editor.
Okay.
When you finally write a book, I've always wanted to be a book editor. So
yeah?
when you finally write a book, we'll be.
I have an idea. It's anywhere near completion. I'll send you like the most fucked up, horrible horror writing I do.
You know something I have always wanted to do with someone? I have always wanted to do a daisy chain story. Where, like you write a section and then send it to me and then I write a section on it. And so it's a little bit like improv theater where it's, everything is yes and.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a few.
It would be kind of crazy.
I've seen a few anthology things that are like that. And it's like, oh, that's been interesting, but it's like I also don't know if I want to do that because I don't want to take other people's thing and like fuck it up.
Oh, you're not going to fuck it up. That's the thing. It's not a baby. You can't mess it up. That's the whole thing. Is
It's not
just
a baby. It's just
it's not like I would be handing over a child to you and it's like, hey, I'm gonna fuck this kid up and hand it back. So you're not an evil babysitter. It's all right. That's it. It kind of it's respecting the story to actually have a life of its own, and a bit like what is it? Michelangelo when he said, "How do you know where to chip away at a marble?" It's like, well, I just already know what's in the marble, and I'm just taking away the extra part. I'm taking away the part of it that's not the statue. And it's kind of like the same thing. It's like the story's already going to be there. We're just chipping away and letting it, be its own thing and respecting it, respecting a story as its own living creature. We're just shepherding it across to each other.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a Kojima baby. Bitters Plus says it's a Kojima baby. Forget Your Life says it's called Mad Libs. Yeah, that's true. We could do that.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit like a Mad Lib. Was Cousin Kevin? Was that a song that was like that? Because I love the
I
Who.
don't know.
Cousin Kevin's a fucked up. Well, all of the characters other than Tommy was incredibly fucked up in the Who. In Tommy. Yeah, I would totally do that with you. All right, so it's been a really long show. How far are we into this now? 2 hours and 44 minutes? Yeah, let's close this out. It's time to let our audience, have a life on a Sunday. So, you ready to close this out, Nick?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 551. We recorded this on June 28th, 2020. I've been Edie Sellers, and with me has been Nick DiNicola. Creative Chaos, a.k.a. Andrew Smith, will be back next week. If you ever want to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record the show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. That's speaker with an R, Spreaker.com. Join us for our audio, or if you're in front of a computer or a tablet or your phone, you may want to just actually hop over to YouTube or Facebook. We actually do a video cast on live while we're doing the show on YouTube and Facebook. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids, VIDS. On Facebook, we are the GameHounds. Check us out, and if you watch us on Facebook, make sure to like our page and subscribe to it. If you watch us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you know that we're on every single week. What else do I have? Oh, if you ever want to donate to us to ensure that we can keep our live stream going, go to our Patreon. Our Patreon is patreon.com/GameHounds. We would love to have you check us out and help support the show. To everyone who is our Patreon right now, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If it wasn't for you, we would not be on video right now. Absolutely, positively would not be on video. So it is all thanks to you. And I guess we'll be back next week. Nick, have a great weekend. What's left of it. Everybody who's listening on the show, thank you so much. To our chat room from both YouTube and Facebook. We have AC Wraith, we have Forget Your Life, we had Bitters, we had what was it? I wanted to say Hacker One. Duggan White, thank you so much. Lala Dada, thank you so much for being here. If I missed your name, I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, of course. Corey Wallace, thank you for being here. If I missed your name, I'm so sorry. But we will talk to you next week. Have a great weekend. Take care. Wear your fucking mask. Don't touch your face. God damn it. Wash your hands, dude. 6 feet apart. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye, everyone. Waiting for the music to play out. Da 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 dun dun dun.
Is it the same? No, it's not the same as the intro.
It's got the longest sustain ever. All right, the podcast is out. The video stream is still going. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being on the show. Have a great weekend. And seriously, be really super safe with yourselves. Miles. Oh, I forgot Miles Thompson. I'm sorry. I forgot you were on there. Dude, be super, super careful. You're down in
Oh
LA.
yeah.
You are in COVID Central, my friend. Just stay inside, play video games, and say, fuck the world. Just don't
Yeah.
call into work. It's not worth it. Have you been reading the stories about what it's like to get COVID, the mild version of COVID?
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Oh, people are needing
Even if you recover from it, it's still like, oh no, this I thought I was going to die.
permanent lung damage, people needing lung transplants,
Oh.
like going on for 4 months that they can't move. They can't walk up a set of stairs because of the permanent lung damage that has been done to them. It's
And that's recovered.
and this is people that have recovered from it.
Yeah.
Constant sustained body pain, and these are people that are saying that they had a medium case, not the severe case in the ICU.
That's
They
'cause
had
the
a
severe case will kill
medium
you.
case. Right, severe case will kill you. These are people that are, and they're in their 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
and they're saying, "Oh, I need a lung transplant now. I am on kidney dialysis because it attacked my kidneys and shut down my organs." It's the whole like, oh, Tom Hanks said it was just a sniffles. It's not. I mean, for some it is asymptomatic, for some it is sniffles, but for some that you're not hearing about, it is horrible. It is literally will fuck up your life. Not just, hey, I'm uncomfortable now, as in like permanent damage to your body for the rest of your life. Dialysis doesn't go away. You need a kidney transplant for that. Horrible. So take it seriously. Be super careful with yourself. We don't have many listeners. We can't afford to lose you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not about you. It's about me. I can't
Oh,
afford
yes,
to lose
yeah.
you as a
Yeah.
listener.
No, I know. Every like couple weeks, my company holds a meeting where they talk about like, what they're doing. And in the last one, they're like, yeah, we're probably just gonna like, if you're working from home, you can expect to work from home for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Well, they've already said that right now they're looking at a soft opening for our office, which means most people won't be there.
Mhm.
In September. But I'm thinking we're not coming back. We can't come back in September. Not if right now we were like set on our opening, right? And now we've got San Francisco has suspended its opening because of increased cases. Marin has suspended its openings. Monday, I will find out if where I live is suspending its openings. I'm imagining Alameda, which is where my office is going to suspend its openings. And that's going to delay us doing the soft opening in September. I think we're out until the rest of the year. My first year that I will be working for this company, I will never set foot into this office. I have a feeling that's the case. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I could, I would absolutely work from home. But as the corporate receptionist, I can't. I've got to be there for meetings. So, but meanwhile, they've got 2 floors of a massive office, very iconic, massive office building in Emeryville that, they've got to be spending $30,000-$40,000 a month on rent.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a lot of money to be spending on an office building, two floors of an office building that is not, doing anything right now. It's empty. Nobody's inside except for a couple people picking up mail. So, yeah, there we go. Lingering symptoms, long-term damage for some. It's a COVID-19 recovery reality. That's the one I was reading right there, of fucking stories that will set your hair on end. Terrifying for mild and medium cases of mild, medium, and medium mild cases, like ones that aren't like the ones that show up in statistics. It's the rest of your life is over. I mean, it's fucked up. So anyway, Miles, take care of yourself. Really, seriously. I'm a little scared that you're down there. If I could get you up here, I would, but I would want to have you move because I don't want you to get me sick. But
I'll pay for you to move, but you're gonna live in
but
my
you're staying
closet.
way over there.
Yeah, I'm sticking you
I'll
in
pay
the
you to
garage.
move in with Nick.
No, I don't want that.
But no, seriously, stay inside. Just do nothing but game and wear your masks. Do not go out to the beach. Fucking all of our most of California's problems are all south of Fresno. It's just people thinking they're vulnerable. They're bulletproof. That it's not that bad. That it's just the flu. It's not just the flu.
That was one of the things. Like going to the Inception in Fortnite, I was like, oh man, I really want to see. It was like, oh, this sucks, but I really miss theaters. I really want to see Tenet when it comes out in theaters, and then realizing, oh, they're probably not going to open next month. They're going to delay that again, just like everything else. It's like, oh man, I miss the theaters.
The was it Mulan? Yeah, the Mulan live action. They've delayed it. Disney delayed it again.
They got delayed. That's because Christopher Nolan is willing to like sacrifice his movie in order to help theaters on the altar of COVID. Disney is not.
Yeah. No.
Christopher Nolan's like, I value the theatrical experience and I want to help theaters, and Disney's like, nah, fuck you. If you go under, we'll just buy you.
Right. Pretty much. We didn't get here by being nice.
Yeah, no. And that's the funny thing is like, I'm waiting for AMC to go out of business and for Disney to like step in and buy them. Because I know, like, I think they can. I think one of the administrations recently had, I think it was the Trump administration, like, pulled back the restriction that prevented movie theaters from owning theaters, which was illegal for a long time.
Right.
And they pulled that back. So I'm waiting for one of these chains, most likely AMC, because they have more debt.
Yep. To be bought by Disney, turned
Yes.
into Disney Disney theaters.
Yes,
That's not going to bode well. AC Ray says Edie has a Lysol bath with a filtered snorkel waiting. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got a gallon of the good stuff. Here, I'll show it to you. Be right back.
Oh, jeez. What's going to be like, there was a scene in The Last of Us where I went to investigate a building, and they had been infected with the infected. And they looked at the thing and they're like, oh, there's a bunch of spores in here. Let's put on our gas masks. And like, that's our future, is The Last of Us, where you walk around with gas masks.
So this is the shit right here.
Oh,
Chlorhexidine. This is as soon as COVID happened, I went and got myself a gallon of this shit. This is the shit that kills everything. This is stuff that they use in veterinary hospitals. This is where I know it from. And I bought a gallon of it.
You drink some of that each night, right? That's how you stay safe.
No,
you just drink a cup.
I don't. No.
Just a shot. Just a shot. That's all it takes. No,
this
just
is
a
on
shot.
YouTube. We do not want to get demonetized and or sued. No, you do not drink chlorhexidine. Chlorhexidine is an antibacterial, antiviral soap that they use in medical and veterinary scenarios. Like you spray this down. I mean, Caitlin would know all about this. After a treatment room,
she uses, yeah.
Yeah, you spray it all down, you leave it for 10 minutes, and it kills everything.
I think that's also a higher grade disinfectant than what the CDC recommends.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So,
damn right it is.
No, that's good.
And you can use it on skin as well.
Lala Dada in the chat.
That's not Kool-Aid. No, that's not blue Kool-Aid at all. So yeah, we've got that and everything that comes into this house. Like, well, we haven't done it in a while, but we're probably going to go back to it, is when we go shopping, food shopping. Everything gets laid out on the kitchen floor.
Oh, really?
And sprayed and wiped down with chlorhexidine.
Oh, I've not done that. I've not gone that far.
Right, but you also, Kevin has diabetes. Kevin has high blood pressure. Kevin has high cholesterol. Yeah. Kevin has pre-existing conditions. He's young by comparison, but he's got those kind of pre-existing, and he's also a former smoker. So he's got all these pre-existing conditions that put him at a higher risk for complications. So yeah, we're not taking any fucking chances. I've got so many masks in this house. I have got so many masks.
Really, I just have one, but like I wash it after each time I use it. But that's
So you have a cloth mask?
yeah.
Yeah, I've got N95s that I've had because I work with
Okay.
a community emergency response team, and so I had a stock of my
Okay.
own for if we ever had to do search and rescue. You're supposed to have a mask with you.
Okay.
So I had a batch of those. So I handed out a couple to Kevin, and a couple to me that were
And
our
I had a
masks.
couple like surgical-esque masks that I
Mm-hmm.
had left over from when there was the fire that people were breathing in all the ashes.
Yeah.
um, but
Yep.
I've mostly gone through those.
Yeah, the surgical masks aren't really good. That's another reason why I had N95s was from the fires. And
Yeah,
N95s are good for the fires. Surgical masks really don't
they
do
weren't, but
they
that's why
don't
I
do
still had
much.
some left over from that.
But yeah, we've also bought some surgical masks. You can get them on Amazon. And forget your life. Where do you buy chlorhexidine? Chlorhexidine can be found on Amazon, and you usually have to pay shipping because it's not an Amazon Prime thing. But yeah, it's when everybody was buying Lysol, I was buying chlorhexidine because I knew that like there were some people who knew about it, and most people, the Lysol buyers didn't. So I was able to get one of the last gallons that was available at that time. I'm sure it's available now because you can get Lysol now.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's actually a soap, and you can put it on skin too because you treat animals like you wash wounds down with chlorhexidine on animals. So it's not something that's the hard thing is finding something that will kill coronavirus, any coronavirus, but at the same time is not toxic to skin or can have, be, on open wounds or,
Mhm.
like not going to poison you. And like Lysol, I would never spray Lysol on my foodstuffs, like food packaging, because I wouldn't
No.
want to get the Lysol onto the food because that's not something you want to
Like I've read
ingest.
stories of people taking like disinfectant wipes and wiping down apples with it. And it's like, no, that's not what you want to do. That's not
Mm-mm.
gonna work out well.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. But I would use chlorhexidine on an apple as I would wash it really freaking thorough, like rinse it super thoroughly. But I would wash down an apple with chlorhexidine. Yep, there it is. Chlorhexidine. That's the stuff. And it needs to be at, I believe, for
Oh, it's
uh
40% off.
oh, really?
Oh no,
Um
that's if you subscribe.
yeah. If you what was the I remember reading the studies on it. I mean, like figuring out what the concentration it needed to be. I think it needs to be 12.5% for a 10-minute soak to kill coronavirus.
I thought it was like because I was reading about disinfectants and they said like as long as it's at 60% alcohol, like the little
Right.
disinfectant bottles you get, it has to be at least 60%
60%.
to be effective.
Right. Oh, and hey, here's another thing for you guys to know that I should have said on the show. Fucking every time things get bad, it's like it just gets so much worse. So, the FDA issued a warning out for 7 different brands of hand sanitizer, all of them made in Mexico, where it is instead of using isopropyl alcohol or ethanol, they used methanol, which is wood alcohol, which is incredibly toxic and can be absorbed through the skin. It causes neurological problems, it causes blindness, it can cause seizures and coma and death. It causes multiple organ shutdown. Methanol is a horrible, horrible thing to put anywhere near your body, but especially putting it in contact with your skin and leaving it there because it does absorb through your skin and it can absolutely kill you. And if it doesn't kill you, it can fuck up your life. There we go. There it is. 9 hand sanitizers due to toxic ingredients. Yep. That's the stuff. Wood alcohol is the stuff that they used to make. They used to essentially, that was it was because of methanol that the government started regulating alcohol consumption in this country because alcoholics would drink methanol to essentially satiate their needs and essentially go blind. So yeah, don't those, and I'm gonna have to look at it. Will it pull up? It won't pull up for
Okay,
me.
I'm looking at them. I haven't heard of any of them. They're not
Yeah.
big brands.
So they're not big brands, but if you have them, they are a deadly, deadly killer. So check those brands and make sure that you don't use them. And if you do have them, throw them away. Just dump them. I don't even know if you want to dump them down the sink because it's a horrible thing to put into the environment. But yeah, no,
Set 'em
actually,
on
don't even do
fire.
that. Take them. Don't set them on fire. That would be bad. Take them down to your toxic waste disposal. Do not throw them down the sink. Do not put them in the garbage. They are that toxic. You do not want them in the environment. Take them down to like where you would drop off paint at your local county toxic waste disposal and say that it has got methanol in it. And they should take it. And if somebody's like, oh no, that's not, you don't have to dispose of hand sanitizer here. Go, no. This has methanol. It has wood alcohol. Do not put that into the environment. Leila Dada. I am just a font of information. I've got deadly, toxic hand sanitizer that could kill you and rapey men in the game industry. I am just like,
You're just the feel bad news lady.
I am. It's like, welcome to the world we live in, fucker. So, yeah. All right. So have a good day, Nick. Everybody on the chat room, really super take care of yourself. Don't use... Oh, by the way, all those hand sanitizers were made in Mexico. So you can almost pretty much source that if it's made in the United States, then you're safe. I mean, I'm not saying don't buy manufactured in Mexico hand sanitizer because they're all bad, but I'll say that the 7-9 that we know of that are bad were all manufactured in Mexico. So yeah, know where your hand sanitizer is coming from. Use reputable brands and wear your fucking mask and take care of yourselves, dudes. And dudettes. Nick, talk to you next week. Chaos, talk to you next week. I heard they were just heading out for burritos after doing some moving.
Cool.
So, all right. Talk to everyone later. Have a good night. Bye, everyone.